Don't believe I have to remind you that this mission is top secret. Everything that you do will be rejected. Many of our best men have been on this mission before. We've sent in countless swabs, and we have uncovered massive levels of intel. But all those that we have caught, their mouths are shut tighter than Fort Knox. Every time we have a good lead, we come up short and empty-handed. This time, however, we're sending you undercover. You're gonna join them, become one of them, watch them, listen to them, and hopefully not be buried by them. We've lost a lot of the best boys we've got. We've lost countless taxpayers' dollars. You cannot become another casualty. Backroom deals, scumbags. We don't know what they're capable of, but we think we know what you're capable of. So be patient and listen. They're out there somewhere. They're out there.
And we are live. How are the GLARPs doing? The GLARPs. Could I call the community GLARPs? I don't know about that. I don't know if I like that.
We're going to have two camps. They're going to be traders and raiders.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Traders and raiders. Sage, why do you always know the obvious thing and I don't? I'm like, what if we did Weird Friday, like Strange Friday, like a segment that's about like the oddities of Friday. And you're like, perhaps Freaky Friday. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, that's the one. But you are the Lord of GLARPs. It's true. I am the Lord of all that GLARPs. You know, it's interesting. Did I tell you guys about GLARP? Did I tell you guys? You know what? We'll someday we'll have like a best viewer award, and we'll call the ceremony the GLARPies. Yeah.
GLARP.
And then the GLARP will be a trophy, acquiring a GLARP. Yeah. Yeah, I like that more. A long, long time ago. Let's get this background music on. Okay. That way I can hear something. Hello. Welcome, everybody. I am your host, the Lord of all that GLARPs, LordGlarp. Also, Mike. My name's Mike. You guys can know that about me. I'm Mike. I'm a real guy with a real name. I'm a human. I don't
believe it.
With us is the illustrious, the grand, a gentleman and a scholar, some may say, my friend, your friend, Sage.
Hello.
You're on the mic with Mike.
It's a hot mic moment. Take off your shirt.
Oh, yeah. I forgot I was wearing this necklace. My Majora. Your Majora showing. Ooh, woo. Guys, welcome to the Trade and Raid podcast, where we... Sage, what would you say we do here? We're on episode 8. This is episode 8. How would you describe what we do here?
Man, we just talk about whatever we find interesting. Usually video game or nerd culture related stuff.
Yeah, that just sounds about right.
Yeah, we're just talking about it.
What have we talked about so far? We've talked about some stuff. We've talked about, I remember the first episode, Dr. K talked about how our brains work, your brain on game, gamer brain. We talked about staring at walls, Chainsaw Man flavored perfume. We talked about fucking bears last podcast.
Yeah, anime stuff. So there was the live action Netflix freaking Luffy.
Oh, we gotta check in on that. I think that's August. I think that comes out in August. I can't remember. Nerd culture. There you go.
Nerd culture. We've done 2 things from the Neil.fun stuff.
That's true. Oh, I wanted to tell you. I watched a guy speed run it. It was like 2 minutes, 40 seconds.
Wow. No shit, really.
That's what, when I saw it said speed run 2 minutes, like 40 seconds, I was like, no way. And it is, when his password caught on fire, he deleted it instantly. It was like it didn't even happen.
Wow.
Of course, then I spoiled the rest of the thing. But we were actually pretty close to the end, but it gets so much worse.
Oh God.
It gets so incredibly worse. So maybe if we get some time at the end, I might pop that video up. I mean, it's a spoiler alert for sure, but it is impressive. It is very impressive. Okay. Man, my mouth is so dry. So dry. Yeah, and then as far as guests go, we were supposed to have someone on Friday. They just can't make it work for their schedule. They're basically on the other side of the planet, so it's just asking a lot of them to be here during our podcast time. So instead, we're going to pre-record that interview, and then we'll play the interview during the live broadcast that Friday, which should be, what day did I say? The 21st?
I believe so. Yes. That Friday. Yep. 21st. Yep. So
this Friday will be normal. Next Friday, the 21st, we'll have that interview. We're gonna get some admin accounts, and we're gonna run around on an MMO. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll record that, and then on the 28th, that's hopefully when we're gonna have the other guest. So I know I keep talking about it, but give you guys the updates, let you know what's going on, give you the rundown. I had been thinking about talking, but basically just telling you guys what we got going on today. How do you feel about that, Sage? You think that's a good idea? I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, just table of contents. Yeah,
so basically, there's a lot of news going on with Microsoft and Activision Blizzard with the acquisition. We got our FTC trial verdict. It's stuff. It's not like exciting news. It's not big drama. I mean, it kind of is, but
it's going to result in big drama.
It's going to result in the biggest drama. This is going to affect, it's going to affect so much, especially when you think about properties like Call of Duty. I know Call of Duty is like really up in the limelight, but the amount of acquisition that's been going on over the past like 10 years and the amount of market share that's being like condensed into a few companies as far as gaming goes has been staggering. However, you also have way more indie studios now than you ever did as well, so it's interesting, especially since AAA games keep fucking everything up. That, I mean, at a certain point they're going to have like a AAA monopoly that's worth nothing, and because they can't put out a good game.
But on paper it's worth like $2 billion or something like that.
Yeah, and we'll see those acquisition prices and kind of how people made out. And I'll give my hot take on it because I actually support it, and I don't think other people do. Segment number 2, the value of gaming. We're going to talk about video game pricing. I made a list of what I think the best Steam Summer Sale items are. How long is that sale going on for?
It's till 10 a.m. tomorrow.
10 a.m. tomorrow. So if you're watching this later, this is useless information for you. And then there's some Amazon Prime Day stuff going on, which I think also ends at midnight tonight, I think. So we're a little behind the ball on that one. But hey, you know what? If you're watching this live, you get that benefit. And we're going to talk about Factorio. Am I saying that right? Factorio?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Factorio is one of Sage's favorites.
Probably
if not,
top five.
Top
Definitely,
five?
Maybe top three, but definitely top five.
Okay. It's a big deal. And then I am going to take it upon myself to teach you how to become a PC gamer. Now, it's not as condescending as that. It's just I know some people are intimidated by PC gaming. Some people don't know kind of where to start, how to get going, how much does it cost, how do I make sure I don't get ripped off, how do I make it easier for myself. I mean, back in the day, if you wanted to be a PC gamer, when I say back in the day, I'm talking well over a decade ago. How old am I? Geez. 15 to 16 years ago, you really needed to know quite a bit about computers. You don't really need to know as much anymore. Way more simplified, way more streamlined, and we're going to talk about all sorts of stuff. Console versus PC, 3 ways to build your computer, all that stuff. And then I got a bonus segment that came up earlier that no one knows about. I got some shit I want to say about this blue-haired Fortnite bitch.
What?
We'll get there. We'll get there. I think Ninja's a little cunt, and I don't like him. Anyway, don't mind my language. Sorry.
Spicy.
Yeah, I get a little angry. I don't like bullies. I don't like mean people. Rudeness is an epidemic, so you got to fight it whenever you can. I am initially for this purchase by Microsoft. Interesting. I really thought everyone was against it. But I imagine if you love Sony, you're probably kind of by default against it. But if you're pro Xbox, then and Microsoft Game Pass, then I guess you're yeah, more stuff. Bundle my WoW subscription with my Xbox Game Pass, please. All right, let's get into it.
All right.
Where are we starting?
So with the Microsoft Blizzard deal, the first thing that popped up that I saw is that obviously the FTC is going to appeal its loss. So this is by no means over.
I heard they couldn't appeal or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. We got news on it, so
yeah, and it's constantly going to be coming over the next 24 hours.
Now, I know that there was a stipulation to the win, and it had something to do with they had to win over basically win over the people overseas, because this is a big issue, not just in the US. This is not just a strictly US issue. Us gamers, we're all in this together. Oh, you know what, Sage, you'd probably like to see the screen. There you go.
All right.
Have some screen. All right, what do we got? In case you missed it, a verdict was just reached. This was at 5 p.m. today. Or I should say updated at 5 p.m. today. They've been doing pretty good on IGN. I don't have a lot of great things to say about IGN, but they've been doing pretty good with a lot of this news. In case you missed it, a verdict was just reached in the recent trial between Microsoft and the Federal Trade Commission. The Judge Corley, with Judge Corley ruling, I thought it said Ruley, so I thought their name was Judge Corley Ruley, and I was about to piss myself. I'm you're not allowed to become a judge if your last name is Ruley. Judge Corley ruling in favor of Microsoft and denying the FTC's request for a preliminary injunction on the $69 billion bid to buy Activision Blizzard and get Bobby Kotick his 5th, 6th, and 7th yacht. This is a huge landmark in the gaming industry for many reasons, and the industry has been reacting to the verdict. Shortly after the verdict was reached, Xbox head Phil Spencer shared a Twitter thread expressing his thoughts. Do we like Phil Spencer? I don't know anything about him. I've heard his name a lot.
I don't recall him being at the center of any controversies, and that's probably about as nice of a thing as you can say.
Yeah, no news is good news when it comes to the gaming, AAA gaming universe.
Talking heads, at least.
It says 1. Does that mean that this continues?
It's a twit longer or something like that, where it's got multiple. Yeah.
It is a twit longer. All right. We're grateful for the court for swiftly deciding in our favor. The evidence showed the Activision Blizzard deal is good for the industry, and the FTC's claims about console switching, multi-game subscription services, and cloud don't reflect the realities of the gaming market. Since we first announced this deal, our commitment to bringing more games to more people on more devices has only grown. We've signed multiple agreements to make Activision Blizzard's games Xbox first party games and Game Pass all available to more players than they are today. We know that players around the world have been watching this case closely, and I'm proud of our effort to expand player access and choice throughout this journey. End. Why'd he add end there? No more Activision games on PlayStation. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't see them rubbing dirt in the wound, if you know what I mean?
I mean, they're going to press their advantage as a business first, but it's kind of weird. So if they just say like, nope, we're not going to make these games for these other consoles, I mean, a majority of, quote unquote gamers, the big gamers, they're going to have both consoles, right? It's not really going to be a big deal for them. And it may mean at least initially, if they're only going to focus on development on one console first, that may mean faster turnaround times, better, more focused development, better performance when they initially release. But I don't think they're never going to release. It's going to be like kind of like with Epic Games, how they do like the 1 year where it's just, it's Epic Games exclusive for 1 year, and then it gets pushed to Steam. I think something similar like that could happen, where it's because
when I think about it, I think about it like if I'm Microsoft and I want to sell games, like if someone buys, let's say someone bought a Halo game on the PlayStation. I know that's sacrilege, but I mean, Microsoft still gets the money for that sale. So, I mean,
or at least some portion of it. Yeah.
Having the exclusivity last like 6 months to a year, which I think a lot of people or a lot of companies are moving to like a 6-month exclusivity model. I know. What was it? Was it the Final Fantasy VII remake? I think was a 6 months PlayStation exclusive, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I think we'll be seeing more like dealing with that, which is like
limited exclusivity.
What sucks? I mean, I don't know if I think it sucks or not. Microsoft is barely seems like a computer company anymore to me. So it's like I don't know. Like, I just hope shit does not become Xbox exclusive. That's it. If it's Xbox PC exclusive, that's fine. But if it's just Xbox, I'm going to be bummed out. I don't want it.
Well, they've been pushing so much integration on, PC with Xbox, like the Xbox, or isn't that what they call it? The Xbox Game Bar on Windows 10 and Windows 11, and a lot of that stuff. So, like, I highly doubt anything will be console exclusive.
Yeah, I certainly hope not. Well, I guess what I'm talking about is that it would become exclusive to the Microsoft Game Store and not be on like Steam or anything else. Like, they would just keep it locked into their store, so you'd have to use theirs. I don't know. I think that's annoying. It's just not consumer friendly. It's probably not that big of a deal though. We're grateful to the court. This is Brad Smith. I don't know who that is. Is he? He's probably the Microsoft guy, right?
Well, it says vice president.
Tools and Weapons, a podcast with Brad Smith. Well, there you go.
Yeah, vice chair and president at Microsoft.
We're grateful to the Court of San Francisco for this quick and thorough decision and hope their other jurisdictions will continue working towards a timely resolution. As we've demonstrated consistently throughout this process, we are committed to working creatively and collaboratively to address regulatory concerns. Yuck.
I mean, yeah, the C-suite,
Yuck.
the C-suite on both sides is just going to be saying the same thing. It's like, we like making money, so
Yeah.
we're glad that this is. So, they're all going to be for it, obviously.
Several Twitter accounts are now pointing out how Activision Blizzard's stock price went up following the verdict, and it went up. It went up. What'd it go up? $4?
$4 is a decent chunk.
Stock is skyrocketing off the back of the. I don't know. Is $4?
No.
$4
that's
is
5%.
I was gonna say $4 is a lot if you already own a fuck ton of shares. If you own a fuck ton of shares, it's a good day for you. Good day. ATVI stock after judge. Okay, blah blah blah. Yeah, 4.6%. I guess was that in one day? Is that what they're saying?
In one day, yeah.
That's good for a day. I mean, that's a good day.
For a day. But the stock market is a fickle thing. It could reverse in 2 weeks when or if they get denied, then it's just going to go right back down. So something like this only benefits like day traders or swing traders. Like if you want to, a little off topic, but if you want to look at a stock that has actually skyrocketed over the year, that's Nvidia.
Really? I have not looked at. Well, okay. Yeah, I guess with what they're charging for their cards, yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. But in any case,
those who supported the deal and hoped Microsoft would win the case are now celebrating, with many Xbox fans rejoicing that the company has one less hurdle to push through as it tries to complete the acquisition. How every gamer feels right now. It is done. Nice. Today is a good day for PlayStation and Xbox gamers, but a bad day for toxic Sony cultists. With a high five. How is it a good day for PlayStation?
I don't know. Like, it's probably a reach. I honestly don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know.
Make sense.
I feel like this is a net loss for anyone who plays PlayStation. I don't see the win. We celebrate today, Xbox fam. No. Okay, they're just excited, and it's just Kevin Hart dancing and copyright music. I like Greg Miller's. That's really good. The war is finally over. Microsoft wins FTC fight to buy Activision Blizzard. Man.
Nah, it's just round 2. There's still at least another round in there.
Ooh, I like this one. Final match, as we would say in Argentina. Phil Spencer. I don't know what that says. I didn't mean to click that. So who's their next opponent? The CMA, the Competition and Markets Authority?
Looks like it, yeah.
I like the way they did this, though. See,
classic
the European Commission, I thought, was the next one. Round 2, fight. Of course, some people decided to crack some jokes with users making memes about Jim Ryan, specifically jokes that refer to PlayStation, who has yet to strike a deal with Microsoft regarding Call of Duty remaining on its platform after Microsoft acquires Activision Blizzard. Wait, specifically jokes that refer to PlayStation, who has yet to strike a deal with Microsoft. I see. Okay.
What would be the point of striking a deal before the deal has actually gone through?
Yeah, they would make zero sense. I mean, PlayStation is obviously very hopeful that this is going to be stopped at some point. So there's no precedent for a deal. Breaking, Microsoft has won its case. This was by Dextero. Then Tony responded, Jim Ryan working with Phil Spencer to discuss the terms of Call of Duty moving forward. Negotiating with the crying baby. I get it. Jim Ryan and PlayStation fans realizing they should have just signed the 10-year Xbox Activision Call of Duty deal months ago. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. So before or 10 years ago, no, months ago. Yeah, there was that I don't know, it was Xbox though. I thought Activision basically was trying to lock in Xbox and PlayStation into like a forever deal to help
with them specifically. Yeah.
Jim Ryan right now.
It should have been me, not him. It's not fair.
That's a good one. While the FTC lost this trial, the agency does have a chance to appeal Judge Corley's decision ahead of July 14th, but there is a chance the FTC may abandon this altogether. And while Microsoft still has to appeal the CMA's decision, it appears Microsoft has overcome its biggest hurdle. To be determined. We'll definitely keep an eye on this. This is why I wanted to cover this today, because I feel like we're finally getting into the meaty part of it. Like up to this point, it's just been going on for so long. Definitely been feeling like a shit or get off the pot situation. So what's next for Xbox after FTC trial verdict? We asked experts. In the year and a half, so it has been that long. Wow, a year and a half since Xbox announced its intentions to acquire Activision Blizzard for basically $70 billion way back in January of 2022. It's felt at times like we're all just kids in the backseat of a car asking, are we there yet? That is, there you go. Truer words. There was some asterisks. Of course, there's the CMA rejection in the UK to deal with. See, I knew there was something going on overseas. I just couldn't remember what. What happened and why? I don't think we need to go through all this. I just want to know, like, yeah, I'm going to read this. When Microsoft announced its intent to buy Activision Blizzard, the Federal Trade Commission issued a complaint suggesting that such a deal would ultimately harm competition in the games market. The evidentiary hearing was planned for August 2nd, but with the deal being set to go through on July 18th, the FTC would have had to examine the deal retroactively. To solve this, the FTC moved for a preliminary injunction that would halt the merger. So the FTC didn't need to prove that the deal was anti-competitive. That point was brought up repeatedly in the court, where it contended it only needed to show that the merger was likely to increase the ability and or incentive of a merged firm to foreclose rivals. Okay, so they don't have to prove that the deal is anti-competitive in nature. They just got to prove that it's going to be like detrimental to all of their competition in like a scorched earth kind of way.
Which is a really high bar.
That sounds like a super high bar. Like, how could you possibly put out evidence that, like, by doing this merger, you're going to damage fucking Nintendo and Sony to a
right?
Yeah, I mean, if their competition weren't like gigantic world-known mechas that obviously aren't going anywhere, I mean.
Yeah, basically, because I mean, you point at Nintendo and just be like, "Look, Call of Duty games don't even go on Nintendo,
right?
So who the fuck cares?" And it's like, that's not. You have to look at the second order effects, how it's going to actually affect consumers, not just in the short term. Because in the short term, it's actually probably going to be somewhat beneficial. But the way these mergers always shake out is eventually they tighten the clamps down.
Let's see here. Judge Corey broke it down like this. She expected the FTC to demonstrate Xbox had not just the ability to harm competition, by taking Call of Duty exclusive, but that it was motivated to do so and that competition would be hurt if it did. Is this whole did they just use Call of Duty as like the backbone of the whole trial?
I mean, it's like it's up there in importance. Like, I'm not a fan, but I definitely know how much market value
I guess I didn't
Call
know
of Duty has.
I guess I didn't know that Call of Duty was still that big. I mean, like, I know it's big, but I didn't know it was like that big.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't the easy W just be Microsoft in the court being like, "Oh no, we'll just agree to never make it exclusive"?
I mean, if they could make it legally binding, but you know.
Let's see here. The FTC's battle took place on a few fronts. First, it had to find the relevant market that would be impacted by such a deal. In this case, high-end consoles in the United States, and it had to demonstrate that there would likely be an impact on the competition. On the first front, the judge largely agreed with the FTC. Judge Corley somewhat reluctantly acknowledged that the focus was on what would happen to high-end consoles, not the Switch or gaming PCs. There's only one other console. Okay,
Yeah,
so
right.
It's just
already
PlayStation.
like a duopoly.
Shut down a lot of Microsoft arguments of its own frailty in the gaming market. Xbox might be struggling in markets like Japan, but it's significantly bigger in the United States, especially when only compared to PlayStation. That's what I'm saying. So when they keep saying the market, an impact on the market or competition, it's literally just talking about PlayStation, because it said not the Switch or gaming PCs, which I thought that they were going to make the reach to gaming PCs somehow. But I guess that doesn't make sense since it's Microsoft. Where the FTC's argument fell apart was in proving that Xbox was likely to do anything that would hurt that more narrow market in the first place, specifically regarding Call of Duty. But simply, the FTC couldn't prove Microsoft had any incentive to make it an Xbox exclusive. Ha! Yes, you have to prove it. I mean, guess what I'm saying? There's not really an incentive for it. Not really. And an Xbox exclusive means that it would never be available, right?
That'd be the language. Is if it's exclusive, then yeah, it would never be available. It would only be on Xbox and probably Windows, but only directly through like the Windows App Store. Probably not on like a Steam. You know, the at least any new games coming out would only be released through Microsoft's web store or whatever they have now. But yeah, I do think that they would be shooting themselves too much in the foot to do something like that. I think that the worst that we would see happen would be a either limited release, or a limited exclusivity. But that's the problem. None of this can be kind of like legally used, right? It's all a bunch of what if.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much what if. So basically throughout here, Judge Corley says, like, you basically did not make a good enough argument. There's too many holes in your case. Judge Corley also asked PlayStation head Jim Ryan's testimony on behalf of the FTC unpersuasive, saying his opposition to the merger was understandable, but that Sony losing out on business wasn't automatically anti-competitive. Well, that's true. I mean, that's true, especially with Microsoft's promise to enter deals that would keep Call of Duty available on other platforms, as well as its proactive move to speak with fellow business leaders in the space and verbally commit the second the deal was announced. I mean, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of different ways they could have gone at this, but just saying like Sony's business may be dented a bit is just not it.
It's not enough. And I mean, they have some precedents, right? Because the acquisition with Bethesda had already gone through a couple years ago now, right? And Skyrim is still available on PlayStation. I'm sure we'll see a Skyrim if we haven't already. I'm sure Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield will be available on PlayStation at the same time it's available on other platforms.
Right.
At the very least, it's too late to change direction Starfield at the very least, I would imagine.
Right.
But it's not this generation, it is the next set. So 2-3 years from now, what are we going to see?
So it looks like the deal is very likely happening now. There are still a handful of regulatory hurdles in the way of Microsoft would probably prefer weren't there, but none of them pose a serious threat to the acquisition finalizing or remaining intact. With the vast majority of countries having approved the merger already, the UK's Competition and Markets Authority seems to be on a path to reaching an agreement with Xbox to modify the transaction and address the CMA's concerns, perhaps by selling off some of its assets or adjusting how it operates in the UK. Yeah, so this was the thing the UK's primary concern was cloud gaming. I remember reading about that, and I thought that was so strange because cloud gaming has sucked real bad so far. It seems likely they will come to an agreement. Former SuperData CEO analysis Josh Van something suggests to IGN that such an agreement will likely involve a minor structural remedy. So, it sounds like they're just on the fast track now.
Yeah, I think they finally got it.
I was trying to see, but the NICE might remand the case back to Judge Corley and said, try again, but this time use the right test, which you have now articulated. I don't know. I'm trying to see if they're talking about going back at it or not.
I'm sure Legal Eagle will release a video on YouTube at some point about it. And that would probably, if you're more interested in the legal aspects, that would be the place to take a listen. It's a great YouTube channel for legal current events and stuff.
Yeah, this goes on for quite a while. Yeah, I agree with this large red text they put here. A big reason why both the CMA and FTC have proven unsuccessful in their mediocre understanding of the video games industry, which, if they're well, this is anti-competition and all the competition is losing all the, this could be bad. It's you obviously don't understand gaming because there is no competition. You're literally talking about a ghost. What is that, straw man argument? Is that what that is?
Something like that.
The cloud gaming, I would have gone straight fucking Monopoly, right? You just own too much. That's it. Just structurally, this is the percentage of the market you own too much of it. That's it.
At least in the AAA space, yeah. Yeah.
Especially since Sony does not branch into the PC space, and PC makes up 25% of the gaming market. So it's I feel like a better argument would be showing evidence of how a pie chart. This is the market, and this is how much of it they own, and just watch it grow. Because something I noticed that they didn't put in here is they didn't talk about King one time. They didn't talk about King at all, and that's huge. King is huge. Hold up a second.
Yeah, but see, if you start bringing in all of that other stuff, then by proportion, it's going to look like a much smaller deal. So this, looking up, Nintendo and all the publishers that work with Nintendo exclusively or specifically, if you look at mobile games, that's going to make the pie a lot bigger, and it's going to make the acquisition of Activision look a lot smaller. And they're okay, yeah, it's definitely not hurting competition in the video game space as a whole from a bird's eye view.
Yeah, King, since 2013, King has been making basically $2 billion a year. And it's only been growing.
It's insane.
What's crazy is to think, okay, so when you do an evaluation of a company, you take the average of their past 5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we could probably say that's $2.5 billion, maybe. So you take $2.5 billion and you multiply it by 5. How much is that?
12.5 billion.
So $12.5 billion worth of Microsoft Activision King is just the value of King itself. And to me, that's significant. How much of the market share? What would that be? The mobile? I'm trying to. And of course, these are like super hard to. What do you call that?
Back of the napkin.
Yeah. Because I remember seeing it once where it was like King itself owned like 4 or 5 of the 10 largest mobile games, like largest revenue. So to me, it's like you're not just talking about they're going to have a huge share of the PC gaming market. They're also own what I can say is 50% of the console market in the US. I wouldn't include the Switch in that because it's so different technologically. Who's allowed to put games on it and not? It's too much Nintendo. So there's basically a 50-50 split. So Microsoft owns Microsoft and everything that Microsoft owns. Activision, Blizzard, and Microsoft for the PC own an insane amount of that. And then Microsoft is going to own 5 of the 10 most valued mobile gaming revenue, whatever. And that's like them breaking into the mobile market more. I don't know. It's a lot. I feel like there is a lot there, but maybe they're spreading themselves out enough to where it doesn't feel monopoly-ish. I don't know how they didn't talk about mobile gaming at all. They own so much of the mobile gaming market. Bananas. Absolutely bananas. Now Microsoft just has to purchase Sony and it's all over. Cool. Oh yeah, my hot take. So my hot take is that this is a good thing.
Okay.
I think this is great. I'm all about it. Because Microsoft will not keep Bobby Kotick. Bobby Kotick is gone if this goes through.
He gets his golden parachute, but he's gone at least.
Yes. He gets to make bank. He gets to buy his 8th, 9th, and 10th mega yacht, and he gets to go away. And we never have to see Bobby Kotick ever again. And Microsoft will not have as much oversight in Blizzard gaming. Microsoft does not want to micromanage studios.
They just let them print money like they do.
And I think basically turning Activision Blizzard into a part of a larger machine and relying on it less to pump and print money for Bobby is going to make it so that way the developers can just work on games, and it's not about their next game is what's carrying the company and all the investors and stuff, because Microsoft as a product, like Microsoft Windows, Microsoft's all their suites.
Yep. They've got web services. They've got
those
office productivity. Oh yeah.
What those produce income wise for Microsoft completely overshadows anything Blizzard and Activision have ever done. So I think it's going to be a huge stress reliever for the development of those AAA games. And if you consider the amount of properties that Activision has access to, we might be looking at getting better versions or better editions of games that exist already. I know that's a long shot, but who owns EA games? Are they done yet? Microsoft.
I don't think so. I think they're still.
Microsoft needs to pick them up next. That way they can have game development rights to Star Wars, which means that by extension Bethesda would have access to Star Wars. That'd be sick. They're like, screw Starfield, it's Star Wars now. All right, and they got the MMO stuff from Blizzard. It's just, it's interesting. It's interesting to see what these developers all kind of mush together and having the pressure taken off him is going to do. I'm excited. Okie dokie. Got any more thoughts on that? We beat that in the ground enough?
I think it's going to be a lot of wait and see. I think initially it's going to be good in general, particularly good for Xbox and PC gamers. But in general, I think it's going to be okay. It's the second order effects and the stuff that are going to happen later on down the line. If they cannot negotiate in good faith with Sony or other developers, that's just got to be a wait and see kind of thing. And hopefully they don't use it to prioritize and push optimizations for only like the latest software. Like, oh well, okay, we're not gonna support these new games unless you're on Windows 12. So it's like, right. Yeah, there's already enough problems. So we'll see though.
I think it's at least decently promising. Anytime Kotick loses, I feel like it's a win for every human on Earth. And I know it's kind of a win for him too, but God, I just want that man to go away so bad. He is the worst thing to happen to AAA gaming.
Gotta take the lesser win.
I've never despised a person that, I don't know, it's like he took my childhood and he put it in like a grinder. You know what I mean? He's just like,
he pooped on your heart.
If he had never been born, the sheer number of gamers who would like not be so sad. Because he pushed people and he didn't have a direct effect on like how games were developed. He don't give a fuck. He ain't a gamer, but he just the way that he ran his shit, all of like the sexual harassment stuff that went on at Blizzard. Like, granted, that stuff was probably happening before him, but I mean, just what a giant ball of just a toxic fucking individual. I want him gone. Ugh, I say. All right. Next segment. From what I can find, EA is owned by institutional investors. Is it private owned? There's no way.
No, I don't think so. It's just all of the big ownership stakes are going to be other big companies or other big, investment firms. So it's just, which is pretty typical for most large companies anyways. The majority of their shares are going to be owned by C-suites, board members, big investment firms like BlackRock and banks, and then like retirement funds, are going to have pretty good chunks. Very, very little is actually going to be owned percentage-wise by mom and pop, investors, basically.
Gotcha. So we're gonna talk about game pricing. I watched a little bit of this video. I haven't seen a ton of it. It's by Video Game Donkey. He is such a funny guy. He is
classic and a legend.
Such a funny dude. 7.5 million subscribers. If you're watching this content, you've probably already seen his. This video,
I think he got big off of Happy Wheel, wasn't it?
I don't remember. I don't remember. But basically, this video came out August 15th of 2021. So this is not new, but I think it's a good launch point into what we're going to be talking about here. So we're gonna watch the Game Donkey. I have not seen this one all the way through. Have you seen this one, Sage?
I may have at some point if it's not a fresh release one. But,
yeah, definitely not. All right, here we go.
Video games are an expensive hobby, but at the same time, games are cheaper and more accessible today than ever before. When the Atari 2600 launched in 1977, it cost $200, which doesn't sound too horrible until you adjust for inflation and realize that was like it costing $900.
That is crazy. People paid the equivalent of $900 for that. Oh. How much did the new PlayStation 5 cost?
Retails for like $500 for the base, like the base version, I think.
Adjusting
With
for
this.
inflation, this Atari cost almost double a PS5.
Yep.
TV
being
type.
said-
Do you prefer it in color or black and white?
I mean, that being said, though, you also didn't have all of the extra shit that you have to pay for an online subscription now, basically, for like 95% of games. That adds up over time. There's a lot of other stuff that kind of makes up for it, at least in part. So yeah. And if you especially if you don't buy like the base model, or if you get one that's scalped with the recent, not recent anymore, but with the shortage that happened with this latest console generation.
Yeah, Midna was just saying that they got theirs for $700. Buh.
Imagine paying $900 to play this.
Ooh, high octane.
Some game, huh?
$60. This is what you expect.
All right, what do we got? Madden 97 for $60 for the Super Nintendo. Arcade's Greatest Hits. Donkey Kong Country, $60. Why is NBA Hang Time 70? That's so random.
To pay for a brand new AAA video game. But where did this price come from? Well, in those initial Atari days, games were going for $20 to $30. So pretty good deal. Wait a minute. What the f?
They are paying the equivalent of $120 per cartridge.
Fuck, $120 for Plaque Attack? Oh no, $120 to play Oink. Oink, ladies and gentlemen. $120 to play Tax Avoiders. Why did you have to avoid paying your taxes? Because video games cost $120. God damn. Jump to NES times. Games are now $60.
Well, we got Super Mario 3 for $64. It's kind of interesting to see the range of prices. Like Legend of Zelda over here, $44. And there's the original Final Fantasy for $65.
Yeah, and looking back with context now, like they didn't know that these were going to become long-running series,
Right.
That now has nostalgia powering a lot of it and stuff like that. So it's very, very interesting.
It's so weird to think of like this Gretzky hockey costing more than the Legend of Zelda.
And this is dating myself a little bit, I guess, but I mean, I was not old enough to pay attention to the prices of games back when these were being released.
Right.
So
right.
like whoa.
Which was like $150. Jesus Christ.
Oh, okay, that's the equivalent of $150 for games.
Remain at $60 going into future console generations. So while the value of the dollar dropped, video games were subtly becoming cheaper with each passing year. Except when they try to sell Turok for $80 for Turok. What? There better be over 80 dinosaurs in this game. $60 is still a lot of money today, but for a top-of-the-line video game that you are going to play and enjoy for the rest of your life, a work of art that developers poured years of their lives into, $60 for that? That's just a good deal. The joke is, how many $60 games meet that criteria? These dumbass games out here, you should be paying me $60 to play this bullshit. The price of a game is absolutely
He's so
nothing to
funny.
do with the quality of a game. Madden costs as much as Mario Odyssey. Assassin's Creed is $60 and Red Dead 2 is $60. Cyberpunk is an unfinished game, doesn't matter, $60. Doom Eternal is one of the best shooters of all time, also $60. It's like if you walked into a car dealership and you could buy a Rolls Royce for the same price as a used PT Cruiser. Where it gets even more absurd is when you take into account indie games, Celeste, Cuphead, Sonic Mania, Inside, Gungeon. These are some of the best games you can play, and they cost $20. Meanwhile, Metal Gear Survive is $30. Sonic Forces
Or less.
Yeah, or less. I was thinking that too. I was like, it's so strange. It's so strange. Like, what is the value of a video game is just such a strange topic,
40. Balan Wonderworld was $60. What the fuck are these prices? They're just picking an arbitrary number out of Balan's golden hat. Marketing will forever manipulate gamers into wanting to buy the brand new cutting edge game, even when there's nothing new about the game because it's all built on recycled technology from years ago. My question is, why is everyone in such a rush to play a new shitty game that isn't even finished yet, that cost a lot of money, when you motherfuckers haven't even played any of the classics that have been out for years? Why are you trying to play Mass Effect Andromeda when you haven't even played Mass Effect 2? Why are you buying Metal Gear Survive when you haven't even played Metal Gear Solid? Why are you buying any game when you haven't even played Mario Galaxy yet? You big bitch. I feel like I just have to start showing up at GameStops at this point. When I see somebody pick up a dumbass game, I just knock it out of their hand like, no, go pick a better game.
Coffee that.
God of War is $17, Uncharted is $16, Doom is $25.
Oh, I see what he's saying. He's saying that these games are good. They're good. They're still good. You can get them cheaper now. I see.
Yeah.
I was wondering where he was going with it.
And it just feeds, and this is only going to get like crazier and crazier as time goes on, because it means that new content is competing with an ever-growing amount of backlogged content, of past content. It's like going back and watching classic movies, right? So that you can understand filmmaking better.
Right.
Like, there's just going to be more and more examples going back. And it's like,
I think now especially because now technology doesn't move as far. It's not leaps and bounds anymore. You know, like the difference between the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 is astronomical. You know, the difference between like the GameCube and the Wii, maybe not so much. But I feel that, like, especially games being developed over the last like 3-4 years, it's going to be weird because there's not like what happens when all games are 4K, all games are, of course, then you got games that they retain their value because they're stylized in such a way, or like me, I still play pixelated games. I still like pixel games a lot.
Oh, for sure.
So,
but not even accounting for taste.
How could Terraria ever become out of date?
Right, outside of like personal taste, because some people will definitely look at that and just be like, ugh, you know. But that's a taste thing that has nothing to actually do with how timeless a game actually is, and we're reaching the limits, like kind of hardware wise. Like, is the jump up to 4K really make or break? I would argue no. It's nice, but there's a really good in between spot. You know, there's 1440p if you're on PC, and like it's like pushing like, okay, I gotta have a monitor that has a TV even, you know, a TV that has a 360 hertz refresh rate. It's like you don't need that. And even worse with the competition angle, like especially with Nintendo and Sega, they have re-released and remastered their old games in compilation packs. So they're not even like HD remasters, not like the Spyro and the Crash Bandicoot ones that came out somewhat recently. They're just like literally just repackaged, running on an internal emulator of the GameCube or the Nintendo 64, right? I'm like, why bother when you can find a place? Everyone knows there's a place where you can go to download Super Nintendo games. You can get like 700 of them for $0. For
$0, yeah.
And it's totally, you know, it's doable. And it's like, why would anyone? I mean, I have spent so much time in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. That's definitely my favorite, like, classic game. Like, any value proposition, it's just blown out of the water because it's so old. I played it for so long, over so many years. I'm never paying for it again because I have bought it at least 2 or 3 times over the years. But at this point,
I've also noticed that when I really, really like a game now, when I say now, I mean even like 7 years ago, I will continuously play that game now because the degradation of graphics over time is bothering me less and less because it's, you know, like I have a hard time going back and playing like some N64 games because like my brain can't see what's on the screen. Some PlayStation 1 games like Final Fantasy 7, loved it. Legend of Dragoon, loved it, but like it hurts my eyes to look at it. That like early 3D. But
there's
a
some growing pains.
A game like Fallout New Vegas or even Skyrim, like it's hard for me to imagine that Skyrim's going on 8 years old or some shit. Like
right.
Skyrim selling for the 15th time, the 10-year anniversary edition is like around the corner. And I have as much fun playing that game today as I did my first time around. Let's get this going.
Phantom Pain is 18, Devil May Cry is 23, so don't let me catch you out here spending $70 on lawn mowing simulator like I know you will. I will come down on you for doing some bullshit like this. Even good games drop in value fast. Ubisoft junk even faster. More than ever, video games are fighting over your money, and as the industry grows, so do your options as a consumer.
Skyrim's 12 years old? Oh, yeah. I was thinking of when I got out of the military. No. Skyrim was new when I was like getting in the military. So yeah, it's well over 10 years. Fuck. God, why is that game so good 12 years later?
Modding. Like that's just modding. That's one word, modding.
I am part of the problem. I recognize that. I have repurchased the game 3 times. I'm the problem.
Now, when I said games drop in value fast 2 seconds ago, I was talking about every game that isn't made by Nintendo. Nintendo games are expensive. Skyward Sword is a 10-year-old Wii game, $60. Mario Kart came out in 2014, doesn't matter, $60. Why are they so expensive?
Tears of the Kingdom is $70.
Says Nintendo on it. Nintendo is the name brand in video games. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, which could be considered the pinnacle of their genre.
Nice.
Not to mention 3D platformers, which you might as well just call the 3D Mario game genre at this point. Not only is Nintendo the best game developer today, but they have been for 4 decades. And this is how they get away with selling Kirby for $60. Nintendo games are not created equally, but they are sold as equals. Mario Odyssey is $38 and Splatoon 2 is $55, and I just gotta sit here and say, okay, while I would gladly pay $100 for a game as good as Pikmin 3, I feel disgusted and insulted when you ask $60 for Pokemon Sword. Get the fuck out of here. I'll give you $1 for this game.
Give you $1 for this game. Yeah. The Nintendo's in a realm of their own. They're in a universe of their own. You can't use them as an example for anything because they exist.
I frequently consider them they're the Disney of the video game world. They're just their own juggernaut. Yeah,
they're doing their own thing. They don't play by anyone's rules. They could put any price tag on their shit. You'll buy it anyway. Like, you know, their big L's with Pokemon is actually getting it's getting interesting to me because like what games of theirs flop and why the fuck can't they do Pokemon correctly? It's so
honestly,
weird.
With Pokemon, I don't think it actually matters because they are going to ride the merchandising side of that until the fucking moon falls down.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like the last 2 Zelda games, they didn't have to go that hard. Like,
but they don't have a merchandising side, like not compared to Pokemon. Like Pokemon is the merchandising
cards and
juggernaut. Cards, plushies, kids, and Pikachu has been there since day one. And if they fuck up a game, they'll just release more Pikachu, and that's all they gotta do.
The TV show, the movies, yeah, and it's like recognizable world around too.
It's too big to fail. Like,
yeah, okay, I can see that. I'm just so hungry for a good Pokemon game.
Have you ever heard the expression, the best things in life?
Okay, I'll see if there's anything else in there.
Life are free. League of Legends, Valorant, Fortnite, all of the best video games are free. Wait, the $60 annual franchise is now a dinosaur. Call of Duty and Battlefield are higher quality games, but they've monetized in such an exploitive way that people are flocking to free-to-play titles instead. Why pay $60 for a game with a 1-year lifespan when they're still updating Fortnite with free content years later? Then you got Overwatch over here, $40.
I've heard that Fortnite has continuously gotten better. Have you played Fortnite? I haven't played Fortnite.
No, I actually
forever.
have never played Fortnite.
You want to hear something? You want to hear something interesting? My father and I used to play Fortnite, but there was no battle royale setting for it. When we played it, it was like I think it was still in early access or it just came out. And the reason the game was called Fortnite was you built a fort during the day, which was like a base or a bunker. And then at nighttime, zombies came up and they destroyed your base. So it was like a third-person shooter tower defense game. And you put traps down and stuff like that. And that was a lot of fun. We actually had a ton of fun with that. And then the battle royale thing came out, and we were like, you want to try that? And like, nah, that sounds dumb. And we kept playing the normal way the game had like been released in. So when I found out that people were streaming the shit out of Fortnite, I was like, man, it seems kind of weird. It's just building bases and killing zombies. Like, how can you stream this for hours and hours and hours? And then I realized it was the battle royale thing was what people were doing, and I thought that was so dumb.
For a game that is 10 times more polished and replayable than any Call of Duty or Battlefield, and they added how many characters and maps to that game over the years. And now Halo Infinite is going free to play. $60 for this bullshit? This is over.
Happy New Year, Xbox.
Now, back in my day, this must have been around 1910, there was a rental store called Blockbuster. Blockbuster had a deal called Game.
Unlimited gaming for only $15 a month, and your girlfriend thought being a football widow sucked.
Oof.
The fuck does that mean? Your girlfriend thought being a football widow sucked. I do not know what that sentence means. Can you explain that to me?
I'm not into football, so I imagine it's more aimed at, I don't know, like pitting, for use of the TV, right? Especially back in the day. Like, if you're an adult, you either played video games on the TV or you watched sports on the TV.
Right.
So
what would make a person a football widow?
The fact that basically when the game is on, you're divorced. Like, you cannot, they cannot get your attention. You're basically dead to your wife.
Okay, I see.
That's what makes sense to me. That's
Yep.
And I mean, like, video gaming is worse than that, I guess.
And since that's 1 day a week, you're single 1 day a week, and now you're single all the time because you can game all the time.
Because fuck you, video games.
That's where you could pay a monthly fee to keep
Big oof.
games, and you could come in whenever you wanted and swap them out for another game. Back then, this was the best way to game the system. I remember Blockbuster always had that movie Pirates, and it didn't have Johnny Depp in it. I think this was a different version of the movie. Today, that deal lives on as the Xbox Game Pass. For $15 a month, you can get access to a pretty decent library of games. I think it's something like 300 games, and there is some really good stuff.
It's a good inventory.
With the Xbox Game Pass is that the second I recommend this to people, you already know snake-ass Microsoft is going to triple the price on this thing. Sadly, many of the best video games out there are not available on any modern devices. Say you want to play a Sega Saturn game. Well, first you're going to need the console. What the fuck? And then the game. Let's look for Panzer Dragoon Saga. $1,700! Remember when I said that games drop in value? We are at a point where remastered
His editing is amazing.
Outdated. Metal Gear Solid 4 is still only playable on the PS3. Ridge Racer? That doesn't exist. What are you talking about? Do you mean Renzo Racer?
Good.
GoldenEye? What the fuck is Golden? Are you talking about Golden Tea? That's not a real game. I think you're thinking of the Watch Dogs 2 Golden City bundle. Tekken 3? Huh? Are you talking about the Tekken 7 Season Pass 3? Beautiful Joe. What? You mean Joe's Diner? Emulation is pretty much the only practical way to get at classic games. If
Big
it's on
true.
Arcade, NES, SNES, Genesis, PS1,
Big
Game Boy,
true.
PS2, N64, or GameCube, you can probably emulate it. Now, this may or may not technically be legal, but this is just a straight up fucking crime. And what's nice about emulating games is that they're all free. Remember, back in the 70s, this was $150. Today, it's a 7 kilobyte file.
Nice.
Are cheeseburgers really this bad for your teeth?
There it is. It's a good video, man. It's a good video.
Yeah, he's a great content creator. He's pretty top tier. So speaking of the emulation that he ended on, though, Nintendo was making a big stink about getting the Dolphin pulled from Steam, because Dolphin was actually going to go on Steam for Wii and GameCube emulation.
Yeah, they got that cease and desist.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I mean, I agree with it. Like, I don't know why anyone would think it would be okay to put an emulator on a.
I respect the testiculars on them to
yeah, I mean,
some balls.
They gave it a try. They gave it a go. You know, I mean, power to them for giving it a try, I guess.
Man, emulation is so crazy too, and emulation has been available for such a long time too, which is what's really crazy. I remember my dad actually started. He found emulation first, and he downloaded this is probably back in 99, early 2000s maybe. He downloaded some emulators and some games. So we had a Sega Genesis and a Super Nintendo emulator, and he got a bunch of games, and he put all the games on an iOmega zip drive, if you even remember what those things are, like souped up floppy drive things.
Yeah, mega floppy drive.
Yeah. Oh, it was crazy.
So I think the conversation is super interesting about the that games always have been $60 is so interesting to me. Because I don't know, I think I've thought that every 5 years since I was a little kid, that it's so strange that it never changes. The price never changes is so odd to me. And now after he ran through that whole thing, it made me think I'm pretty sure, I mean, outside of Nintendo, most of my favorite games have been indie studio games. The vast majority of the games I like are either free to play or indie studio games. So, and I think I take it for granted as I'm not a console gamer. I'm thinking about all the games that I've played that have been the early access games that I've thoroughly enjoyed. I remember back in the early days of early access, it was a complete and utter shit show. But now, I played Meet Your Maker a while back on Twitch stream, and I just saw it. It was I think $10 or something. I just picked it up, threw it up on stream, started playing. Easily got 10 hours out of it. And I still have it downloaded, and I check it out every now and then, and I probably put about, I don't know, a little bit of time into it each time I boot it up. But it blows my mind that people on console don't get that. Because half the time, by the time an indie game makes it to console, it had already been on the computer for years. You know. It's also nice kind of being along for the ride on the development of a game.
It can be, yeah, especially if it's one that you have followed from the very beginning, and because there are some games that Inscription Inscription was first. It was first it was like an indie game jam is where the concept first emerged, and I think it was just called Sacrifices Must Be Made, if I remember right. And it's like seeing the concept and then realizing that the developer ended up making a full game out of it. I don't remember if he actually did early access for it or not. I don't think so, but it's still that same kind of feeling.
Right.
You know, see, it's like most games don't come with demos anymore, right? And so it's like the try before you buy. I feel like early access has kind of taken that role because you almost always get the game cheaper in early access too. So if it's even something you might be interested in, you already have kind of inherent value proposition there of like, well, if I might be interested in it, and then, you know, I pick it up now, I can be there. Maybe if you're a more active person, you might, you know, join the Discord for the developer and maybe throw in your 2 cents here or there, you know, when try and influence the development. I'm pretty hands off whenever I've done like an early access thing. I'm just like, oh, I'll just let them do their thing, let their creative process run, and hopefully by the end of it we have a good game. And if I forget about it for a year, oh well.
I like the way that the RuneScape development team was doing it. I think it was RuneScape Classic that was doing it. That did if you had a monthly subscription, you got like 1 vote per month or something on the direction of the game. And they gave like stuff that people could vote on. So it's like if you were they're like, here's, you know, 5 features that the community has been asking for. Which one are we going to develop? And it's like if you had a membership, you could vote on which one. So like, the ideas were being produced by the community, and then the community at large was like deciding the direction of the game's development. I think stuff like that is amazing. Like you can't
legit.
go wrong.
It feels good.
You cannot go wrong as a game developer. I feel like you could not go wrong with that, because at a certain point the game's not yours anymore. I'm a big believer in that like the vision is yours and the game is yours, but like if it's an early access game and people say they want stuff, just let them have it. I don't like it when developers get so stubborn. They're like not willing to move away from, but that's, you know, that's a whole thing. I've got my own game of development. And I always think like, if people were like, nah, man, we liked it, we thought it was going in this direction, that's what we would like to see. And I'd be like, all right, cool. Let's do that then, you know? But I guess it depends on what your design philosophy is and
artistic vision too.
So, when does the Steam Summer Sale end?
Tomorrow at 10, I believe, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So you guys got 12 hours to get these Steam Summer Sales. I'm gonna share my top picks with you. Sage is not going to be able to see this because it's a different screen and it's only going to be up here temporarily.
That's fine. I can just bring up the notes.
First off, let me turn this music back on. You can hear my thoughts, which is no good. The first we got is Wasteland 3. The Wasteland series is awesome. The Wasteland series is fantastic. Basically built on the foundations of the original Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 game. A group of developers who worked on that early Fallout franchise broke off, made their own game called Wasteland. So if you like Fallout 1, Fallout 2 style, it definitely has that XCOM feel to it. XCOM being another game that followed in those same footsteps. I'll pop up a little bit of a video here. You guys can watch that. The game is currently 80% off. The base game and all of its DLCs and all of its expansions and shit are all they all are on discount as well. It's really good. Really good. It's got it's like I'm trying to think of how to say things without spoiling anything. It's got very good story, really good dialogue, some really good decision making that's pretty impactful. It's possible to lose the game as far as like you messed up too much, you got everyone killed, you lose. You can lose members of your team permanently, and you can like, yeah, like that guy's head getting blown off. You can really choose who you want to side with, who you don't want to. Kill everybody, try to kill nobody. It definitely supports semi-pacifist type stuff if you want. Just a really, really awesome game. And as you can see from these pictures, just some of the stuff you fight. I really, really, really like the scaling of some of the fights throughout the game. So, not a sponsor. The digital deluxe version, also 80% off for $10. And then down here it says the Wasteland 3 Colorado collection, which I think just kind of includes everything. 61% off. So that's an insane number of hours, an absolutely insane number of hours of video game for $23. So highly recommend. My second pick. How many did I pick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. So we'll get through these real quick. A game that needs no introduction at all. My second pick for the summer sale is The Witcher Wild Hunt 3. I have a very strange relationship with this game. This game is gorgeous. It's beautiful. The story, so good. Voice acting, great. Quest lines, super interesting. It's just a good game, good experience. Playing as Geralt is a wonderful experience. The weirdness of it is I've never beat it. The game takes so long. It is such a, if you're someone like me and you want to do all the side stuff, I'm not like a completionist, like 100% achievement type person, but when it comes to story and gameplay, I want to do it all. I want to experience the whole story. And there's so much that every time I play it, I get burnt out before I can finish it. 659,860 reviews with a 96% positive rating. Fuck. That's got to be one of the most highly rated games ever. Game came out in 2015, and I mean, it holds up. It really, really holds up. 70% off, $11. You can get the complete edition for $14. Really awesome. Really awesome. As you can see, I got all the things except for the soundtracks. So yeah, wonderful game. Wonderful, wonderful game. Witcher Wild Hunt 3. Get it. When did Hades come out? I don't even remember.
Oh, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, maybe longer.
2020, September 2020.
Honestly, Supergiant Games though, almost any of their games are recommended.
Yeah, Bastion. Ugh. Bastion, I think, was their like breakout game. The
Bastion
narration was just next level. How they did not make an anime out of this is beyond me. Like these cutscenes, these videos, like the trailer for it and stuff, so good.
Right. Well, they're making a sequel for Hades too, so.
And the sequel looks really, really good. She looks like more like a magic user, so I'm glad they're I'm glad that the protagonist is being changed up and all that. Hades was amazing. Is definitely, I do not like roguelike dungeon crawlers. I don't like them. I don't like to play them. I don't like roguelike games. I don't like dying a ton. So even like Souls-like games typically upset me. Mechanically speaking, how they've set this game up is just phenomenal. They just hit every single mark. You die and you just respawn, and death is just part of the game, and you get more powerful through death to a certain extent, and it's just good. And it's actually got a really, really good story. Just a really good story that you unlock basically through all this death that you go through and this narrative unfolds, even though you're going through all these runs over and over again. So huge W to Supergiant Games on this one. I don't know if there are other games. Are there other games on sale too? Pyre is 80% off. Transistor is 80% off. Bastion's 80% off. Guys, do yourself a favor. Go get every game Supergiant Games has ever made. So good. And I am very partial to Hades and Bastion. Bastion, that narrator's voice is like honey. It's like that dude's voice is next level. I feel like it's a weird thing to talk about, but like it's one of those like if you know kind of things. What do we got here? Okay, so we have Portal 2, 90% off, 99 cents. That's, it is what it is. And if you never played the first Portal game, so you don't want to play the sequel, for an additional 49 cents, you can just get both of them for 93% off.
Honestly, at this point, it's amazing that Steam doesn't just have them listed as free games.
I mean, basically.
Like, thank you for using our platform. Here's 2 free games.
By the way, Hades was 96% positive review. Portal 2 is 98. It's got near perfect review at nearly 300,000 reviews. Came out in 2011, but still, I believe holds up really well. A lot of really good humor. GLaDOS is like one of the coolest bad guys ever made.
It's got the co-op if you want to punch your friends.
Oh yeah.
There's a co-op mode.
Yeah, playing with double portals is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Even just sandboxing it is a lot of fun. Do yourself a favor, drop $1.48 and get the pack, because the Portal
if you don't
1,
already have it.
Portal 1, I tell you, just for the just to experience the story, it's so good. And if you don't like puzzle games, don't worry, they're not that bad. They're not that bad at all. It is more of the puzzles I feel like are there to slow you down while you experience the GLaDOS. GLaDOS is so cool. Maybe a hot take, potential trigger warnings. Disco Elysium, which no one gave me a warning when I played. Yeah, there's a guy hanging. The game is what do they call it? Groundbreaking role-playing game. You're a detective with a unique skill system at your disposal and the whole city to carve your path across. Interrogate unforgettable characters, crack murders, or take bribes. Become a hero or an absolute disaster of a human being. It is so cool. It's kind of slow-paced. You're put in like really strange positions. You build your character out, and your character's kind of like a bit of a depressing guy at the beginning. The world is kind of dark, kind of grungy, kind of gritty. Disco Elysium.
It's like post-apocalyptic if the apocalypse didn't really happen.
Yeah, it's like boring dystopia. And when I say that, not boring, the game's not boring. It's just the world is just so bleak and so broken. And your character's kind of a reflection of that at the beginning, and you kind of choose kind of who he becomes. Here's the skills. So you got intellect, psych, physique, and motorics. And these things really change how you interact with other characters, interact with the world. And it's very, very interesting. A lot of psychological stuff.
It's very dialogue heavy, but I think it's all voice acted. So it's not like you really have to read it. But it's very dialogue heavy, and it is like a master class in writing. Like character writing. It is phenomenal.
And it's a great story. I was super pleased to see that it's 75% off. $10 for the game. And if you want to get the Final Cut plus Control Ultimate, it's only $17. I have no clue what Control Ultimate is. Oh, it's that one with the the Mind Power girl. Yeah. I saw some people play it. It actually looked pretty good. I have not played it myself.
It's at the very least, the concept is like a secure, contain, protect. It's like SCP type of thing.
Yeah, it definitely gave off that vibe.
Yep.
And then the character that you're playing is kind of like that as well. Someone who should be contained in that they're different. And last but not least, this one's for Sage, because Sage is a big fan and introduced me to the game Inscription. Go ahead, Sage. How would you describe this game?
Well, so to keep spoilers, like basically no spoilers. It is a card playing, deck building, D&D session type of game with escape room mechanics. The primary draw and what was basically released in the Game Jam initial, like kind of proof of concept Game Jam thing that Daniel Mullins made is just it's kind of like if you're familiar with card games, it's like a mix of Yu-Gi-Oh and because you sacrifice, and like depending on how many you sacrifice, you can play, bigger, stronger cards or whatnot. And then there's the bones mechanic, which I don't know of any card games that are quite like it. But it's as creatures die, you get bones, and you can spend those bones on playing different types of creatures. And you're all doing it as your antagonist is creating situations for you to overcome with the deck that you build. And it is great. If you stick through it, like there's some, it's not even sticking through it. It's an experience. The less you know about it, going into it, like the more you'll actually appreciate all the things that end up happening.
I agree with that.
And it did have, especially it's a little late now, but to enjoy after the fact, it was an ARG that went alongside this game, and there's still some mysteries in it that are still kind of being worked out too. So and Daniel, some of them tie back to some of his older games as well. So there's some cool meta stuff in there if you're into it. But even if you're not into that, it's a fantastic card building type game. So if you like card games like Magic the Gathering, like Hearthstone, like if like that kind of stuff, it's worth checking out. It has a demo, which is phenomenal, right? You got the store page up. I was pretty sure it had a demo. Did it show a demo there?
I don't think they have a demo anymore.
Oh, okay. Maybe they don't anymore. They did. At one point they did have a demo. But it's what, 40% off, $12? Yeah. It's
beyond worth $12 for sure. Again, it's another game that has an overwhelmingly positive review, 97% positive review, almost 100,000 reviews. Came out in 2001. The game does have in these pictures and in this video stuff, it looks like it's horror. It's not. It might be kind of horror adjacent, but I would say the psychological aspect of it pops more than the horror, because if you read it, it says the psychological horror into a blood-laced smoothie. Darker still are the secrets inscribed upon the card. So it is dark, it is spoopy for sure, but I would not say it's a blood-laced smoothie psychological horror. It just doesn't hit me that dark. But
yeah, not compared to some other games that would have a similar vibe. No.
But yeah, that's that. That's my list. Wasteland 3, Witcher 3, Hades, Portal 2, Disco Elysium, and Inscription. And yeah, it was at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, about $50 for 6-7 incredible games. So less than the cost of one AAA game, and you get hundreds of hours worth of really good games. And that's coming from me, so you know it's true. This is like a little weird. It's barely even on topic. It basically is not on topic. But Rock Paper Shotgun put this out. As you can see, it's still live, and they found a really interesting function for the live, like basically a live news feed. A lot of websites will do this if there's like a car chase going on, or there's like a bank robbery thing going on, or like a mass shooting or something. And they basically create these live feeds that they can update in real time. Let me refresh this actually. And it's just cool. So a live blog. And so the coverage, normally this coverage would be like, you know, even like baseball games and football games do this sort of thing where you can see like at this time this happened, at this time this happened. You know, it's like 1 minute difference. But basically they're scraping through, they're going through the Amazon Prime Day for all things PC and just live updating when they find stuff. Now, obviously we're at the absolute tail end of this, so it's not that big of a deal now, but in the future, this is something that I think I would watch. I think I would come to Rock Paper Shotgun for future sales. It seems like they've done this quite a few times, and something that I also really like is on the right hand side here. Every now and then people who are signed up, they can put a comment on here, and you know, even they're finding some things. So this is really out there. It's got really nothing to do with video game pricing, so I don't even know why I threw it in this segment. I just thought it was cool. It's neat to me, and if you're a PC gamer, this could be very useful to you for finding some good deals. Are these all UK? Am I being a dumbass right now? A lot of those were. From Newegg was, okay, never mind. Maybe not. Cool idea. I thought it was super interesting. They have a bunch of these sort of things going on. These live deals, findy things. Pretty neat. So, Sage, one of your top 5 games is Factorio.
Absolutely.
Would you say that this video is on brand with the value of gaming?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that that it made sense that it was in this segment.
Yep, it brings up some very good points that are not often considered, actually, and it was, I thought it was fascinating because even some of the stuff they talk about, I didn't even know. Cool. Let's give it a whirl. Dive on in.
This is the story of Factorio, the game that only increases in price. Oh yeah, that seems like it's on topic.
Factorio.
Oh good, the babysitter's here. It's nearly their bedtime. Maybe read them a story or something, I don't care. Just make sure they don't get hold of any knives, and if they get into the freezer, don't let them eat the white popsicles. They're for an experiment. Alright, I'll be off. Good luck.
Well, at least they didn't get into the white popsicles, I guess. Now that you're all tucked in with your favorite knife, how's about that bedtime story? Factorio is a strange game. You gather resources to create a
I didn't know you ran around as a person. I thought you did it SimCity style.
No, when I talk about it graphically, I usually mention like Red Alert 2. If you ever played Command & Conquer, Red Alert 2, if you're back into RTSs. Because it is that top-down kind of RTS-y vibe. But yeah, you actually do run around as a little dude.
Interesting. It does look like Command and Conquer.
That was the first thing that I thought of when I saw the trailer for it. I was like, bro.
It kind of reminds me of Command and Conquer or the old Mech Commander games.
Yep.
With the tree scaling.
Factory to gather more resources to create a better factory, to gather more resources to create a better factory ad nauseum, while you desperately try to convince your loved ones that you don't have a problem and that you can stop whenever you want to. No, really. This quirk of a software engineer's fever dream sits pretty atop Steam's 100 best games of all time list, but for this story, I want to focus not on the Sisyphean gameplay, but rather its unusual price tag. If this price tag had a mouth, it could tell me about the wild, wild west days of early access, its own vilification during
you
the
were talking about this
bang for buck crusades of Steam and Humble Bundle, and its triumph over G2A's shady practices just to end up in the hot seat once again. This is the story of a game that never goes.
Do you know what the hot seat is?
Not really.
So, I'm a Navy guy, right? And it was explained to me that the hot seat was a special toilet that you were forced to sit in on ships, on large vessels, because everyone has to use the same bathrooms. There's nowhere else to go, right? And so the hot seat was and the reason it was called hot for two different reasons, but the main reason was because the toilet seat was red. It was painted red. So if you went into a bathroom, you could tell what the hot seat was because it was a red seat. Now, can you guess why someone would be exiled to only use red seats on a ship?
No, actually, I not as. Are you talking like as a form of punishment?
Oh,
or only use red seats? So I don't know. I would imagine is the seat made of metal?
They all are. Yeah, it's on a ship.
They all are metal. Okay. So do they just get hot from sitting in the sun, or not sitting in the sun per se? But
no. They're called hot because they're red. They're red hot.
So it's not. Oh, I don't know then.
So the other reason they're called hot is so you go do port visits, right? You go do port calls all over the world. So sailors had this big issue with going to brothels everywhere and going to whorehouses everywhere, all over the world. And it was like, you'd sail for 2 weeks, you'd go to a port visit, or you'd sail for a month, you'd do a port visit. So if you had a lot of nasty shit going on downstairs, you were still stuck on the ship, and everyone else was stuck on the ship with you, but you had to sit in the hot seat.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm sharing this with all of you so that all of you guys are ruined as I have been made to be ruined. That I hear now when I hear the term hot seat so differently now. And the way that people use it, they're like, you're in the hot seat. Like it's your turn. And all I can think is it's like someone saying, you're riddled with STDs now. That's all I can think of. Dang it. There you go. I've ruined it for you guys. So now I'm going to replay this so you can hear what I heard. Because some of you might not even have heard the word hot seat because it doesn't stick out in your brain. Well, it does. It will now.
It could tell me about the wild, wild west days of early access, its own vilification during the consumer-friendly bang-for-buck crusades of Steam and Humble Bundle, and its triumph over G2A's shady practices just to end up in the hot seat once again. This is the story of a game that never goes on sale and only ever increases in price.
Back on the hot seat.
December 31, 2012. Born to proud parents, Whoop Software, Baby's first asking price was a wallet-scorching $0 American. If you asked nicely through an email, Whoop Software would let you play with the baby for free. 2 months later, a crowdfunding campaign was launched and the free baby price tag so tender and mild grew to $13 American. But you could still flirt with the devs through email and gain access to the alpha that way. Hugs and kisses are nice, but they don't keep the lights on. So with full transparency on their forums, Whoop Software announced the alpha would only be given to paying investors. 3 reasons were cited. Firstly, this was done out of respect for the people supporting Factorio with cold hard cash. Secondly, responding to the flood of emails for free samples was taking time away from actually developing the game. And lastly, but most importantly, giving your game away for free while you're trying to sell it is like shooting yourself in the foot to save someone else a bullet. While Woob Software were busy being responsible parents, the Steam Marketplace was the cool mom, handing out Jell-O shooters at a Sweet 16 mosh pit announcing their early access initiative. Gamers could help push unfinished games across the development finish line with their mother's credit card. In return, they could play the game sooner and cheaper than the full release, if there was a full release. But how bad could things get without quality control or a refund policy? By 2014, customers were starting to feel the burn of Steam's never-ending summer. The marketplace was breaking out with asset drops and scams, and only 25% of games in early access were actually being completed. It took massive public outcry.
We talked about that the early days of early access on Steam were wild. The sheer amount of shit that came out. But back then, they didn't even have the green light system, did they? I think you could basically just put a game on Steam, right?
Not in like the first 2 years, I think.
So now it costs $300 to.
Yeah, there's some barriers to entry.
And many
It's I mean it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
news cycles to take down the worst offenders like Earth Year 2066, but plenty of smaller, sketchy games skirted under the watchful closed eyes of Steam. At this time, the platform wasn't as consumer-friendly as it is today, because the real product was consumer savviness. You could potentially make amazing purchases buying into early access games before the price increased at full release. You could buy games for up to 90% off during an 8-hour flash sale during an already ongoing sale event. You can make money from gambling or auctioning off virtual items. Those sales are responsible for most of the unplayed games in my Steam library. All of this and more was possible with the consequence that maybe a few suckers got caught under the tires of the American dream. And everyone wanted in on the action, except Factorio, because Factorio never goes on sale. In fact, after careful consideration, the alpha price tag had grown from a $13 infant to a $20 toddler, with plans for continued development. Woob Software still refused to partake in sales out of respect for their early backers and respect for people's time.
That's such an interesting idea, to not increase the price of the game to respect the purchase of the people who bought the game earlier. This is what they wrote. Many people complain about the game being too cheap at $13, especially taking into account the amount of content and playability people easily sinking tens of hours that is present already. And they are right. At the moment, Factorio is 2.5 times. Am I saying that right? It's Torio, right?
Yeah, Factorio. Think of how you say Mario.
I keep saying like Factoro, like I'm saying Naruto or something. Factorio is 2.5 times cheaper than, for instance, Prison Architect or RimWorld, which are games we tend to compare ourselves with. We have felt the game is mature enough for a while, but the presentation was lacking. So having a consistent artistic direction, presentable trailer, new logo, up-to-date screenshots, and a variety of payment options allows us to do something we have planned to do for a while. To raise the price of the game starting the 1st of June, the game will be sold for $20 US. So if you have friends who are still on the edge regarding buying the game, let them know about this so they have the opportunity to get the game for a lower price. We mentioned the 1.0 release in previous article. The obvious question is then how much the game will cost when 1.0 is released. We haven't decided exactly yet, but something like $26 looks like a good candidate. So what I love about this instantly, like love about this, is that they're saying, where is it? So if you have friends who are still on the edge regarding buying the game, let them know about this. Like, to add that in. They didn't need to add that in. But it's like, that's so nice. That's so considerate.
It's so weird, but they are like incredibly pro-consumer.
Yeah, this whole thing reads incredibly pro.
And they're hey guys, they were doing a Factorio Friday. Basically, where they had dev notes that they would release, and they stayed very consistent and have always been transparent and kept everything like on the up and up. And it was so great. So like all throughout early access, like they were constantly like, we're hiring for this. We have these developers working on these other things. They, in my opinion, are. It's not as big a deal now because the game has been out and they're still servicing it, and I think they're coming out with a DLC. But like back in the early access days, they had the gold standard for communication with their community and just being so upfront.
Yeah, and I like that their jump was it's like a $7 jump, and then their next jump is going to be like a $6 jump, or I guess already was, but.
And I think the $20 price point was where I actually bought the game, if I remember right. It was about there.
This is really cool. I'm liking this a lot.
Pricing logic goes as follows. If the price never drops, then potential buyers don't have to waste their time and efforts bargain hunting. The best time to get Factorio was when it was free in 2012. The second best time is now. Admittedly, 2016 was a weird time to be a $20 bill on the internet. Steam did away with flash sales and swapped over to a more consumer-friendly model with a refund policy that let you return any game you played for only 2 hours within 2 weeks. The cool kid on the block was Humble Bundle, combining the primal satisfaction of hunting down a good bargain with the wholesomeness of knowing your money went to a good cause. And Woob Software once more reaffirmed that Factorio will never go on sale. On the outside, Factorio was the party pooper refusing to let savvy consumers play ball, not even for charity. Healthy pricing standards look like electric fences to people who want to take advantage of a good deal. Speaking of which, another digital video game marketplace by the name of G2A was also putting in a bid for my $20 in 2016. The price differences were obscene, reminiscent of Steam's flash sales and surpassing those of any other marketplace. Savvy consumerism was back in high demand, and it was fed by an obscene supply of illegitimate goods. G2A was repeatedly accused of allowing people to sell.
I was about to ask, I thought G2A was not a good thing. I've never bought anything from G2A though. Let's see here. G2A, the gray market purveyor of game keys, was once again drawn the ire of game developers less than keen on their games to feature on G2A's digital shelves. It's previously clashed with Tiny Build and Gearbox, and recent ad push has seen it condemned by more developers, with some even saying they'd rather players tore it than buy from G2A. Publisher, that's big. That's whew. Publisher Mike Rose noted that a search for his games placed on G2A ads for them above the publisher's own link. We have zero money on our games if people buy them through ads, he said. We recommend people considering buying a game through G2A just pirate it instead. Damn. They're like, we would rather you steal it than give these assholes a single fucking penny. I like that. That's good. Yeah, get them.
Fraudulently obtained video game keys. There was little to prevent keys acquired through credit card fraud from being sold, and many developers outright insisted that their customers pirate their games instead of buying from what was referred to as the gray marketplace.
Crazy.
Deception and boycotts were the extent of the consequences suffered by G2A, but it was enough at times to end partnerships with the likes of Riot Games in 2015 and
Earlier this week, Riot Games asks teams sponsored by game key reseller G2A to remove the company's logo from their merchandise at the 2015 League of Legends World Championship. As a result of G2A's ongoing sales of leveled League of Legends accounts and elo boosts, it later confirmed on Reddit that G2A had been formally banned in September and that Riot has no plans to reconsider the decision. Wow, so like you can't even be advertised. You can't be advertised, pirate the game, tore at the game, do whatever you got to do.
In 2019, Unknown Worlds Entertainment were the latest studio to accuse G2A of muscling them out of their own product. And in response, G2A issued a challenge to all developers.
Let's lay all cards on the table. We will pay developers 10 times the money they lost on chargebacks after their legally obtained keys were sold on G2A. The idea is simple. Developers just need to prove such a thing actually happened on their stores. To assure honesty and transparency, we will ask a reputable and independent auditing company to make an unbiased examination of both sides. The developer store and the G2A marketplace. The cost of the first 3 audits is on us. Every next one will be a split 50-50. Dang, okay, G2A threw the gauntlet down. The auditing company will check if any game keys sold on G2A were obtained using stolen credit cards on a developer store. compliant with card scheme rules from Visa, MasterCard payment provider rules? If so, G2A guarantees it will pay all the money the developer lost on chargebacks multiplied by 10. We want this process to be transparent, so we will publicly report every step of the procedure, meaning you will get information such as who came forward and what the verdict was, all of which will be published for everyone to see. If you're a developer willing to cooperate, contact G2A's direct team. That's big. That's big. Man, big shots fired from both sides.
They asked developers to audit their keys and guaranteed to pay them 10 times the value of any chargebacks resulting from problematic keys sold on G2A. The time and effort alone could end up being not worth the money, and proving that G2A's keys were ill-gotten to begin with made this an impossible feat. Who's to say the keys weren't acquired through sales or promotions? Woob Software's to say because Factorio never goes on sale. Factorio's price tag had actually grown.
Many people complain about the game being too cheap. Okay, we saw that already. We haven't decided. Yep. Okay.
Since
That's the one we read.
To $25. It's not unheard of, but chances were slim someone was waiting for a $5 price shift. Woob Software had also compiled a list of all the fraudulent keys and support emails received from customers whose Factorio keys disappeared.
Kotaku reports that after taking G2A at their word, Woob finds that 198 of the 321 keys suspected of being illegitimately sold online were distributed via G2A between March and June. Unable to find an independent auditor willing to publicize the process, G2A told Kotaku they performed the audit themselves, as it was imperative for both G2A and Woob to make the results of this investigation public.
Chargeback. In 2020, G2A paid back $39,600 for 198 confirmed stolen Factorio keys and announced an effort to combat fraud in their marketplace. Woob Software was the only studio to take up the challenge and win.
That was the perfect one. Because he audited himself and he fucked himself over. That's good. That's good. Believe in yourself like this third place man believes in himself.
Win. And afterwards, they went
Woob
back
is
to
good.
developing Factorio and remaining faithful to their price philosophy. In anticipation of full release, Factorio received its big boy price tag of $30, a common practice. But due to inflation and the cost of continued development, Factorio's price tag grew a smidgen more to $35 at the start of 2023, a less common practice. Factorio was the talk of the town once more, but no mention was made of their victory over G2A, their transparency over the years when it came to their pricing, or the fact that the game was initially free. The spotlight was on the price tag, a price tag that never saw a sale and only ever grew. The moral of the story: even when a company has a stoic commitment to fair pricing and loyalty to its fan base during an entire decade that saw some of the worst online consumer practices imaginable, the price is never right.
Huh. I don't know if that's the way I would summarize that, because it sounds like people who are big fans of the game really appreciate it, and that's how Woob did it. Woob did it for them, did it for their boys. So I don't know. I don't know if I agree with the ending of it. I think it's a very interesting video, and it definitely sounds like a master class in how to take care of your community, and the idea that the best time to buy the game is, when it first came out and today, that there will never be a better day to get it than today. So if it's on your wish list, get it, because it will never go on sale. That's a very, very interesting thing. I was telling Sage about this, but I was like, but this game was in my wish list, my wish list, but I don't look at my wish list. I just wait to get the notification that the game is on sale. And I didn't know that this game never went on sale, so it would have just sat on my wish list forever until I forgot about it, or saw Sage get on it for the 5 millionth fucking time, because I get a pop-up every time he plays a game. So super interesting. Very, very interesting, very cool. And actually, I'm thinking maybe in my game development ventures, maybe I'll do the same thing. Be like, hey guys, version 1 of the game, maybe not too great. How about $5? Will you give me $5 to try out the game? If you play it for less than 2 hours, just, do a chargeback on it. That's fine. and then just never ever make the game cheaper. I really like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Yeah. Good video, Sage. Thank you for sharing that. That was a good one. You know what else is a good one? Sage is a good one.
Aw.
There.
I try.
There it is. What are we? We're a little over 2 hours in?
Yep.
Oop.
Just a boot.
Oop. Put spoilers. You guys don't want spoilers. Maybe you do. Okay. So I created a document. Okay. Okay. You hear me?
It's official.
I made a document. And
Eggs.
should I put it up on screen? I don't know. I'm going to put it up on screen.
You gotta blow the text up big because my eyes don't work so good no more.
Here's the... Jeez. Freaking washes my face out so much. Let me line it up here. So, you guys don't make fun of me. No one make fun of me, please. I made this. I made this earlier today because I was trying to get my thoughts on paper, right? Because I'm like, how do I go about this? Because this segment is kind of weird. The segment's goofy. I wanted to do this segment really, really bad. Out of all the segments today, this is the one I really, really wanted to do. But I don't want to be condescending. I don't want to be a PC Master Race guy, even though I am. And I want to come at this kind of in a way. So we're going to start out. Just bear with me. This is PC gaming and how to do it. Just bear with me. We'll get there. Okay. Just let me cook. Like I'm yelling like some imaginary person is disagreeing with me or being mad at me. Okay, I'm going to do it like this so it doesn't wash out my face. So first, we're going to talk about console versus PC and the avatar of both. Why are we doing this? So basically, I'm going to take us through some steps. Now, if you're someone who is a console gamer and you're thinking about getting into PC gaming, then this is for you. If you're a PC gamer and you're thinking about maybe getting into consoles, this is also for you. If you used to be a PC gamer back in the day and you haven't been, vice versa, everyone gets me, right? We're getting where we're going. This is a weird segment because it's literally just me going over stuff and showing stuff. But it dawned on me, a buddy of mine contacted me and he was like, hey, Mike, I'm thinking about getting into PC gaming. You're my PC gamer friend. Where do I start? Where do I go? What do I do? And as I was messaging him, I kept having these massive assumptions about, like, there's things about life that you just assume everybody knows. So like you work in a place, you work in like a certain industry for a long time, you kind of like lose track of what is normal that everyone knows and stuff that you just know. So I'm going through this. That's my long way of saying that we're going to go through this. So the first comparison I want to make is cost. So consoles, new consoles usually start around $500. Controllers are about $60 each. New games generally debuted at $60, but prices drop over time. Online subscription service such as PS Plus and Xbox Live Gold for multiplayer and free games are around $60 a year. Also consider the cost of accessories like charging stations, console stands, and VR gear, because VR gear is kicking up a lot, especially for PlayStation. So you're looking at what is that? I probably should have put some totals on here. It's not breaking the bank in a ridiculous sense comparatively. For PC, a solid gaming PC starts around $700, and I think that's being extraordinarily generous because I can build a $700 gaming PC, but it will be out of date in like 2 years and can easily go above $2,000. Mine was with, I don't even want to get into it. Gaming mouse and keyboard can range $100 to $300. Monitor suitable for gaming, which is also weird because I used to just use TVs. And basically, the sky is the limit for PC gaming. So the question I get asked all the time is, how much does it cost? So someone will be like, here's my budget. I have $800 total. Can you build me a gaming PC? And it's like, well, yeah, the tower, but that's it. Like, you know, you're going to have to go grab like an old white ball mouse and keyboard from an old bin or something, and some wired headphones and a TV with an HDMI hookup. I mean, you can,
which you can do, and I will.
That's what I used to do. Like literally, last PC setup, my last PC before this one was literally that. It was just, I had the same mouse from when from 2008.
Yeah, used components can be incredible value if you are willing to put in the patience to hunt around eBay and stuff like that.
Yes. The secondary market for PC gaming is so insanely valuable. eBay will be your absolute best friend if you're trying to ball on a budget as a PC gamer. We've all done it. We've all been there. And a brand new video card comes out. So this is the mindset, right? If you're a console gamer, if you've always been one, you're going to have it in your mind that the jump between the PS4 and the PS5 is supposed to be huge. The jump between the Xbox One and whatever came after that is supposed to be huge, right? When it comes to things like video cards, if you have that in your mindset, it's not like that. Like, I know people who are running like 980s or whatever, which, and they're still playing games on it. That's probably getting pretty far out there, but the secondary market for shit for the PC, the cost of the components drops significantly as new shit comes out, but they retain a ton of their value,
especially
value.
The higher end components.
Yeah. Yes. And this applies to everything: RAM, motherboards, video cards, processors. Maybe not so much power supplies, but they, you don't want to have your computer. We're going to get into it later, but bottlenecking is an issue and stuff like that. But we're not going to get that deep into it. The point is, everyone. I have two problems when it comes to the cost of PC gaming. When it comes to people asking me about it and talking to me about it, it's either they have a budget of $800 and that is it, and that's all they got to run off of, but they want, like, their expectation of the gaming experience is like, well, it's $800. That's $300 more than my PS5 cost, so I should be getting an experience that's comparable, and you're not. More than likely you're not, right? So, like, dollars for consistent performance, which performance is what we're getting into next, consoles win on cost to performance, because gaming console developers, they make a loss on their consoles. If you're buying a PC from anyone, they're not looking to make a loss. Sony and Microsoft make a loss on their consoles. So you're not going to get that comparable experience at that dollar point. However, you can do a lot more on a PC, but we'll get there. Do you have any more to that, Sage? I'm sorry, I felt like I cut you off.
I mean, not really. It's if you've paid attention to the two spaces and the arguments that have flown back and forth over literal decades, it's been pretty recognized. Okay.
Yeah, I think so too. Console performance is consistent across all units of the same model, ensuring a standardized experience. Next-gen consoles like the PS5, Xbox Series X now support 4K up to 120 FPS. However, hardware capabilities can become outdated over time and cannot be upgraded. not totally true, but we're
Effectively true.
Effectively true. We're going to stick with that. We're not going to look at edge cases too much in this. Performance varies widely based on the component. This is for PC. Performance varies widely based on components used. High-end gaming PCs can support 4K, even 8K gaming with frame rates well above 120 FPS. Performance can be improved over time. So obviously the problem with this is the console's cost and performance are locked into each other. PC cost and performance is not locked into each other. So in my mind, the console has a bigger W than PC gaming in the regard of that consistency. Bang for your buck. If we're talking purely just gaming. Game library, consoles exclusives are a significant selling point for consoles. Next gen consoles also support most of the games from previous generations. That's kind of hit or miss. However, they may not have access to many PC exclusive titles. So this one to me is kind of a wash. PC, it's basically the same idea, because you're going to get console releases that are specific to a console, like how Final Fantasy VII Remake had to wait a long time to be able to play it on my PC, and there was no way I was going to get a console just to play one game. So that kind of sucks, but on the PC you have so many early access and indie games and mods and all that shit that honestly I said it's a wash. It's probably, I would rather be a PC gamer, but
I would heavily lean towards the PC for that. Especially when you sure like initially it might suck because you are going to have console exclusives. But that's temporary. And if the game is worth playing,
it's worth waiting for.
It's worth waiting for. And you'll have friends maybe who will jump back into it with you to experience it with you all over again. If it's a multiplayer game, if it's not a multiplayer game, it literally doesn't matter. And then you've got emulation is the biggest W for PC. Like you can, you're not going to find a GameCube in the wild if you wanted to go back and play Wind Waker. You're definitely not going to find a Wii U if you want to play that poor HD remaster that they did. But you can download Dolphin and it's free. You can find an ISO file for the disc.
Emulation and modding are the two biggest for me. I'm trying to be as charitable as I can be. I'm trying to be it's going to be impossible to be unbiased, but I'm trying to be charitable to console gamers, because there is a person I think that is they will get more out of console gaming than PC gaming.
Sure, but if you only care about what's relevant in recent years. And that's like with PS5, it's mostly it is pretty much backwards compatible with like 95% of PS4 games, I think, right? I'm pretty sure it is. So like consoles still have some backwards compatibility. It's just not to the same range.
Right. Controls, obviously, again, standardized for the console. Considered more comfortable for long gaming sessions, typically more straightforward for casual gamers. Some consoles also support mouse and keyboard. They all do now. Maybe not every game supports it, but all consoles. If you, you can just plug a keyboard in.
Especially now that Windows and Xbox have better integration. Like, a lot of games will actually default controller configurations for Xbox controller on PC.
Right. Yeah.
Like even if you hack your way around plugging in a PlayStation 4 controller, like it's a lot of stuff is still just going to be like boop Xbox. So
and the PC keyboard and mouse offering superior precision, like in FPS games, RTSs. So I think there's more variation to PC games because of the flexibility of having a keyboard and mouse. Like I'm trying to imagine playing games like even like Elite Dangerous on the console, or watching someone play Final Fantasy 14, an MMORPG on the console, the like ninjutsu you have to do with your fingers to make menus, like hold this to have this menu pop up, and while it's popped up, scroll over, hit another button to select, let go. It's insane because you have to condense so many controls into such a small space. And to Sage's point, if you do like playing games with a controller, literally most console games exist on the computer, and you could just plug a controller in the computer and just play the game with a controller. I have a buddy that I play Smite with, and the PC, we've played a ton of PC games together. He only plays with a controller, and he only plays on the PC, which is bananas to me, but it works for him. Works for him really well.
I always say just play with the interface that you're most comfortable with, because anyone who actually cares about like the increased precision for headshots if you're using a mouse and keyboard and FPS, it's like you're not MLG, unless you are actually trying to be that competitive, it's not a big deal.
Another big point of having this conversation is I've talked to people where they're like, well, I dropped $120 on this Xbox controller, and it's got like weights in it, and it's got like adjustable buttons and pressures on it because they love gaming with their controller. And like, I spent a lot of money on this controller. I don't think I could switch over to a PC. And I'm like, dude, you can plug it into your PC. And he's like, it's Bluetooth. I'm like, okay, cool. You can Bluetooth it to your PC. Like he's like, oh, really? You can? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, I'd still have to navigate everything with my mouse and keyboard. I'm like, nah, man. You like open up Steam, and there's like literally a console mode, the big screen mode for it. And if you want to project it onto your big screen TV, you can do that, and you can still use the same controller. I'm like, so the point of this conversation is also to say, like, there's certain shit you can do on the computer that, based on some of the conversations I've had, some people just don't know. And it's weird to me that they don't know, but they're not terminally online or a PC gamer like I am. Sorry. just like, people who know, and people who maybe don't know or have never really thought about it, because if you've been a console gamer for the past decade or more, some of this stuff just wasn't true 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I feel like when I was in high school, PC gaming was like just starting, as far as like World of Warcraft had been like gotten to its first expansion, and games, the divide, the split on are you a console gamer or a PC gamer kind of started when I was probably 16, 17, 18 years old, as far as that huge split goes. And like I said, a lot of this shit wasn't true. PC games just didn't have compatibility with controllers. Not many did. Stuff like that. So online play, we don't really need to get into it. If you do one or the other, it is what it is. Upgradability, everyone knows that your consoles cannot be upgraded. You do get, to the cost point, you do get 5 to 7 years out of your console, and more potentially if you go back and play games. I know people who still use their PlayStation 4 very regularly, and they're bummed out that it's not getting support anymore coming up. And I'm like that. What can you?
I'm bummed out that Windows 7 isn't getting support anymore. Like that's I still mostly use Windows 7, and I'll fight anyone about it. But like Steam recently released their thing saying like, yep, after whenever of next year, like Steam will no longer work on Windows 7, and I'm like, ooh, that sucks.
Right. Big true. Actually, I didn't think about that. Windows does get out of date. PCs can be upgraded piece by piece, and I know that for a lot of people that's a big selling point. But now I got to draw a correlation between price, performance, and upgradability, because if you drop $800 on a tower, you drop $600 on a tower, and you are going and getting those older components, things can only be upgraded so far, because your motherboard is really going to determine the upgradability of your entire computer.
Yep.
It determines everything about the maximums your computer can get to. So if you're like, I want to drop $700 on a computer, I'll get some older components, and the computer runs amazing, right? Like it's great, and you use it for years and it's fine. You will hit an upper limit. So if you're like, I'll just upgrade later, there is something to be said about getting things that are like part of this generation of like chipsets, and I'm trying so hard not to get too deep into it, but maybe getting the cheaper end of what is still semi-current. That way you can maximize on upgradability. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds with it, but there is a conversation there for sure.
Yeah. My biggest rule of thumb for that is the RAM generation. That's tends to be like, because my computer, I'm in this problem right now. My computer is running still DDR3 memory. DDR5 is actually out now. If I want to upgrade my computer, like I have to upgrade the motherboard, the processor. Like I could actually buy a better graphics card, but it wouldn't actually matter because the rest of the platform is so outdated. So like RAM is the good rule of thumb, in my opinion, for
that's definitely a good way to because if you get as long as you're within that generation, you at least know you've got a number of years of upgradability.
Yeah. You have a few options. I have no options.
But I think there's a misconception by people who are not PC gamers that they can just upgrade everything as needed and that there's no ceiling to that. Which, I mean, it gets to that point that what was the ship? The ship that was every piece was replaced? Is it the same ship?
The ship of Theseus.
Yeah, the ship of Theseus. It's kind of like that. It's like eventually you'll have to get rid of the motherboard so that way you can get new components, but then you're going to have to throw out all of your components, and then it's just a new PC at that point.
Except maybe the power supply. That's if you spend good money on a power supply, it should last you a long ass time. Now,
kind of a trick, and maybe it's not a trick. A buddy of mine, what he does is he has his computer and he will look for deals about something that's like within this generation of motherboards, and he'll buy the motherboard brand new. The motherboard will be brand new and up to date. It'll be like top of the line, and then he will buy parts for it over the course of years, 2 years, 3 years, spreading out his spend and also maximizing deals. And when he has basically built a new computer, he just gets rid of the old one. And he doesn't do that obviously every 2 or 3 years, but that way it's like he's still got his gaming computer that he's playing on, and he's constantly building towards that new computer that could be 5 years down the line, but really maximizing on deals. We're getting out there a little bit. We're getting a little out there. So I have created the avatar of the console gamer. Prefers a simple, straightforward gaming experience. They like to plug in their console, sit down on their couch, start playing without worrying about hardware configurations or software updates. They appreciate the consistency of performance across all games on their console. They don't need high frame rates or resolutions. They value a stable, seamless gaming experience. They enjoy the social aspect of console gaming, joining their friends, because be real, you're going to find a lot more people who are console gamers than PC gamers in your circle, no matter what your circle is. And the ability for you to connect and just play together is infinitely more simple on a console. Call of Duty, Fortnite, blah, blah, blah. They might be on a tighter budget, making the lower upfront cost of a console appealing. They're willing to pay for a subscription service if it means getting to play multiplayer games. They might also have an appreciation for the exclusive games that come out, that are consistently coming out for a certain console. Maybe younger, less tech savvy, appreciate the simplicity, ease of use. If you're younger, obviously like going to college and stuff like that, or in high school, it's just easier to connect with people with the console. Way less complicated. Don't mind waiting for next generation or console to get hardware upgrades, and are interested in games, or more interested in games than hardware itself. I feel like that is a very charitable way. I think that's a good way of saying it, right? I feel like that is not saying PC is better than console or anything like that. It's just saying, like, if this is who you are, then you probably should stay on console. Because I have some friends who, like, they're like, man, I'm not a real gamer because I'm not on PC yet. Like, as though like jumping to PC gaming is like, you know, you're getting up to that top rung and you're not quite a gamer yet if you're not there yet. And I don't know if I agree with that. So there's that. The PC gamer prefers a customizable gaming experience. They enjoy the freedom to modify their gaming rig, tweak their game settings, explore different gaming peripherals. They want the best possible performance, high frame rates, resolution, graphical settings, and they're willing to invest time and money into achieving this. They value the extensive game library available to PC gamers, including numerous indie games, older titles, emulation, digital, things like Steam, Epic Game Store. They may be more tech savvy. I said might be. You do not have to be tech savvy to be a PC gamer. You just don't. To enjoy the process of building and upgrading your gaming PC, they view their PC as an investment and a hobby, not just a gaming machine. If you are a console gamer, you're a gamer while you're gaming. If you're a PC gamer, being a PC gamer is a hobby. It's kind of a lifestyle. Would you agree with that, Sage?
Yeah. It is definitely more of a lifestyle than a hobby. I would definitely agree with that.
It's not like because I think people who are really heavy into console gaming, it's like the TV. It's like the crock pot in the kitchen. I don't know how else to say it. Like it's like an appliance. I don't know. It's like a thing that is just part of the house or something. Where a PC is like a room. It's a computer room. You have a desk, you have a station, you have a computer chair, you've got like,
it's like the old school listening rooms, right? Where you'd have your turntable or your hi-fi stereo system with like a lazy boy chair and a whole shelf full of albums, and that's all you did in that room was you sat there and you just leaned back and you put on your favorite tunes and you just
It's a lifestyle, and it's to me, if you're a console gamer, you're someone who likes to read books, and if you're a PC gamer, you dream of building a study. It's a
set piece of a modern home entertainment home, basically.
So that's how I'd look at it. And if you're like, I just like playing games, hanging out with the boys, it's a form of entertainment and it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. Just stick with the console. You're not a lesser gamer for playing on a console. It's
You
fine.
might get called a lesser gamer, but it's okay.
Only by us, master race PC gamers. Building a PC part by part. So we have 3 different ways of building a PC: customizing a PC through a company, building a PC part by part, and buying a pre-made gaming PC. Buying a pre-made gaming PC is basically the same thing as buying a console. A little bit more complicated, a little bit more setup, but roughly the same
options.
Thing.
Yeah.
Customizing a PC through a company, you get the benefit of spending your exact budget. You get exactly what you want. You might not understand the PC enough to like want to actually take a screwdriver and build it yourself, but you're getting into that part where you're like, I understand the components. I understand what I want. It's also a good starting point. If you don't already have a PC, it's a good way to get to kind of that starting line of your PC gaming experience. And then building a PC part by part is absolutely insanely fun for me. And it is, I don't know, there's something oddly personal about it.
It's the modern day version. Well, I say modern day version. I mean, there's people still, but it's like, so 30, 40 years ago, especially, like, it's the couple of guys or even just one guy putting together like an engine rebuild for like an old shitbox or something. Like there's something personal about it when you're putting something together like that. And the only thing I can kind of liken it to is someone putting together, souping up their vehicle.
Yeah. Are you, it's almost like buying a car already made, or you're buying a like a kit car where everything comes in a kit. You just got to put it together. Not even really, I guess. It'd be more like buying it off like an app where you pick the color and the wheels and the trim and that sort of thing, then it gets delivered to you. Or piece by piece where you just buy a junker and you put it back together and you do it all by hand. I guess, yeah, good comparison, Sage, good comparison. Sage, what screen can you see right now? Am I sharing anything with you?
Not with me, no. It looks like you have PC Part Picker open, though, on the stream.
Yeah, I just popped it for you.
Okay, nice.
I can't really see the chat, so I'm glad you're responding to chat.
Yeah. I've found that the best analogies to make when talking to people who are not like particularly tech literate is to talk about cars or automobile related things. Like when
everyone gets cars.
When you're talking about like network speed, when trying to pick out a router or something, I'm like, well, it's like, how many lanes on the highway do you have, for information to flow through? It's great for analogizing computer topics.
So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this live. Give me a second here. I'm gonna explain what we're gonna do. And I need to check something real quick. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna build we're gonna go to Starforge Systems, which is owned by the OTK community, and it's kind of like the newest kid on the block. So I think it's a good place to go. And we're gonna pick a computer, and then we're gonna try to rebuild that computer on iBuyPower, and then we're gonna rebuild that computer on PC Part Picker. I'm going to fly through it pretty quick because that is something that could take a very long time to do. And I don't want to sit here for another 2 hours trying to.
Oh, because we could.
We could. Yeah, that's another thing you'll learn when you start dreamscaping about building your rig. It's going to get. If you get very excited about it, if you find out that you are very excited about this and going on this PC gaming journey, it gets addicting. Just building and building.
I think when I first built my computer, it took me about 6 months of just like pure research, hemming and hawing on what I wanted to do, if I wanted to wait for the next thing to come out, or if I wanted to start building it now. So it can definitely be a time-consuming, research-intensive task, if you want it to be.
So this is Starforge. Starforge, I can't remember what the name of the company was that tanked on stream. They were just like really fucking mean to some lady and it destroyed their company.
Oh, yep.
But
Artisan Builds?
I think it was called Artisan Builds. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. Basically, Starforge was a bunch of creators like Moist Critical, Asmongold, just a bunch of... They basically picked up the pieces, bought a warehouse, and rehired everybody. So they bought the warehouse near where the other one was, so that way everyone could basically just go back to work. Which is, I think, a really cool story in and of itself. And so now they own Starforge PCs. They have the weird penis logo. And what we're going to do is we're going to... What should our budget be?
I would pick just a solid $1,000. I think just a solid $1,000, easy round number.
All right. They do not
Lots
have
of options.
They don't have a $1,000 computer.
Oh.
I think this is all of their gaming PCs, and it starts at 1,100.
Well, you can customize. So I'm pretty sure some of the starts have like presets that you can cheap out on. So I would.
I'm going to start with the Horizon 2. It's their cheapest one. No, you cannot customize these.
Oh,
no,
dang. Okay.
Starforge is no, that was the point. Starforge is the pre-built computer. Yeah, let's I'm going to pop it up one because I want to make sure that there's a good price comparison. So this is basically it, right? You'd go on to a website like Starforge, you'd find a computer and you'd hit the add to cart, ship it to your house, and you're done. That's it. When it shows up, you just plug in your monitor, your keyboard, your mouse, and you're going. You're good to go. And if anything inside the computer is messed up, not working right, loose, lights aren't working, you tell them and you'll send it back, or they'll try to help you over the phone. But usually the customer service for places like this, I have found, my last pre-built I got off Newegg, and my customer service was amazing. And something didn't work and they were like, you can send it back. And, they were going to cover all the costs and stuff. So this is showing you what's in the computer. Your CPU, cooler, graphics card, all that stuff. This is going to be important for utilizing that information on this website, which is iBuyPower. You can buy pre-builds off this website. This website has been amazing. I usually refer people to this website actually, to kind of start their PC journey if they don't want to do the part for part thing. Ready built computers are the ones that are ready right now. I'm looking for customize. There we go. Essential gaming, value gaming, right there. Boom. So the way that these websites are set up is basically you have, can you guys see it on that? Barely. You have your total and some stats, and you're basically building it piece by piece. So this is an Intel Core i5 1240. Watch it not let me have something even close to that. No, because this is a Ryzen computer. I guess I could have prepped for this a little better. So I need an Intel PC. Intel Core, there we go. But that's not, there we go. This insanely expensive one by comparison. Maybe they won't even have the same one. Nope, they don't. So this company does not have a processor that is low the right word?
It's not quite at the same tier.
i5-134. i5-4. i5-136.
And it gets so messy. Processors get messy.
Super messy.
Their naming conventions are awkward, and the generation to generation changes can mean a lot or nothing.
Yeah, because you'll see on Starforge, it says i5-136K, right? And here there's two of them. There's two different ones. So which one does Starforge have in it?
Yeah, is it actually the K or is it the KF? But like looking at the speeds and the cores, and it's just like it's probably the K.
A lot of information. Memory, 32 gigs of DDR5. RAM, 32 gigs of DDR5. Team group, so it's the same one. That's good. Power supply, 750 over here. Is this going to say? Power supply, oof. What is that? Yeah, 750. This has a GeForce RTX 4070 Ti in it. This has a 4060 Ti in it.
That's where most of the money is going to.
Oh, yeah. Intel, NVIDIA, what are we looking for? 4060 Ti, 4060 Ti, 8 gig. And who knows, right?
I think they just released the 12 gig variant for the 460 Ti too, and no one cares. Or the 16 gig variant. I'm not sure which.
The cases are not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, what is this? Team Group PCI 4.0?
So that's the solid state memory storage. Yeah. NVMe. Yeah, basically the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. So these computers are very comparable. There might be a bunch of like little bells and whistles and stuff. I mean, we could check the motherboard, but that we're getting into like more really weird.
At that point, you might as well build it from scratch.
MSI Pro. Do we have an MSI Pro? Oh, it's the same one. Oh, cool. We're already on it. Case. This is, let's see. This one is a deep cool mid tower. I just want to see if by some amazing chance there's, a comparable case. It doesn't really matter because it looks like this case is kind of a mid value anyway. Yeah. Okay. So this one came out to, there you go. You guys can see a lot better now. $1,842. Starforge is selling theirs for $1,700, but if you look here at the crossed out, it's $1,850. So these two are basically the same exact computer, and they cost almost the same exact amount of money.
They're within spitting distance of each other.
So this is a good way to check, and it's not really a great way to check, but it is showing that you can build your own computer on a website like this, and it will be comparable to this. These guys are not jacking up the price any more than these guys are.
Yeah,
not
on
really.
A per component basis.
And in this case, it looks like buying off of Starforge while they have this deal save you about $100. There might be more going on under the hood here if I look a little deeper into this, but it probably not. This is probably fine. So the comparison, obviously, that we need to make is this one. This is the big comparison. Any of you have ever used PC Part Picker already know where I'm going with this. Basically, I'm going to put this on another screen and block my ability to see basically anything, but that way we can do this fast, unless Sage can just tell me. No, you can't. So CPU, this is what is this? 136. Was it a 1 or is it an I? 1-3. 136.
It's an I.
Is it an
Intel.
I? Intel. Yep. That's right. 3600K. And I'm not getting anything.
So okay, sorry. Yeah, that is a 1. So
that is a 1?
13.
It
that
is.
one is a 1. Yep. 13600K.
So all we do is we just hit the add button and we keep going. CPU cooler. Does it sell me? Yeah. Deep cool. Deep cool LS 520. This one 240 millimeter. That's the one. Motherboard. I'm going to go through this as quick as I can, guys.
MSI.
This is exactly how you would do it. If you're like, am I getting ripped off here? Is this worth it? I'm not super tech savvy. How would I even know? And that's when you start contacting your buddies who do computers good and start asking them. And this is exactly what they would do for you. So if you said, hey, this is my budget, and this is a computer I'm looking at on another website, is it worth it? Can you do better? And then if they're a good friend, they'll be like, please don't buy off that website. I'll make it for you. Because
you're spoiled, yeah.
It'll hurt them to hear you say that you're going to buy a pre-built. Man, what the heck, man? 32 gig DDR. Come on. Oh, there's so many. What is it though? It's 6,000. Well, I'll just make sure it's at least in the 6,000 range. This one?
Yeah, that one should be fine.
That one should be good. Of course, it was super expensive.
Because it's 232 gigs.
Yeah, it's
that's
two.
64 total.
Yep, that's my bad. That's my bad. Trying to go fast. Let's do team group. Yes, I clicked on it and I was like, oh, no, that's not it. This one? This one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Storage. I'm trying to get the exact same components. Not just, you know what? You know, it's a really good feature on a computer. Control C, Control V. It's a beautiful thing. It's a fantastic thing. Oops, I think I left team group in there. So I'm not seeing this, which is going to be a little bit of a pain. It looks like they don't have this.
Honestly, just throw in that Samsung 980 Pro for 1 terabyte. Like, prices are going to be very similar across the board, and Samsung is killing it with solid state memory right now. So that'll be close enough.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good. Oh, I was like, where the heck is the GPU at? Let's get rid of this TM just in case. So 460 Ti, I'm gonna sort by rating just so I get the. It's really hard with video cards right now. This one, yeah,
sure,
probably it's close
Again,
enough.
It's all within spitting distance.
Choose a case. I doubt this case will be on here, but maybe. Oh, it is. Nice. That's the one. It's another cool thing is like, you know, if you just want to know how much are they charging you for the case is basically what I would look at. I'd be like, and how much are they charging for the case? $500. What is this? What did I click on? Power supply? Kind of on autopilot right now. And you can just copy and paste all these components in. Operating system. Yeah, we'll just. Okay. So I almost feel weird putting operating system in there. I haven't paid for an operating system in a long time. You can get that. You can get a Windows 11 Home for $1. I just don't feel right leaving it there. So this computer is going to cost you part by part. Right now, we're not hunting down any deals or anything. This is just a 1-to-1 comparison. You would be looking for deals, money back rebates and stuff like that. So $1,355 compared at $1,840 compared at $1,750. So you could say they're charging $500 for the case is the way that that's what I always say. They're charging you, at least $400 to put it together for you. So if you're ever wondering, like, am I getting ripped off? Like, what is it? Is it really, you just have to determine, is that $400 worth it? Shipping for this is going to be free. Shipping for the pre-built is not. So the price is going to go up. If I add this to cart and I go to checkout and I try really hard not to accidentally buy it. Yeah, I'd have to put in a bunch of personal information.
And it would calculate shipping though. And they're heavy, so it's going to be a chunk.
Yeah, so you're probably saving $400 or $500 by just buying all the parts. Shipping is going to be free on everything. A lot of these, they're going to be coming from the same place. When I built mine, everything was coming from Amazon and Newegg. So I bundled everything together, and you'll probably come up with a better computer, better performance. That's when you got to look into your bottlenecks and things like that to make sure. But that's a little bit more technical. But it is. Those are 3 different ways to get into PC gaming as far as getting that first rig, getting your foot through the door, and how is it that us good at computers people do it? That's how we do it.
Basically.
And if you send your buddy a link to a computer you've been looking at and you're like, is this worth it? this is how you check that. This is how they're going to check that. This is the exact same tool that they'll use. So just throwing that out there. And of course, like, this is where you can look and you can be like, hey, actually my budget was $1,800. So now I want to upgrade something. So you just go to your ratings in here. You'll probably have, if you're tech savvy, you do it. If someone who's a little bit more tech savvy than you have them do it. But a lot of the times you can get a really, really big jump in performance and capacity by spending a little bit more. Sometimes the leaps and bounds are huge of course, then it's like, maybe 20 more bucks. Then you look at the next one, like, maybe 30 more bucks.
Yep. It is a slippery slope.
Yeah. It's kind of like the next thing you know, you're trying to figure out if you can pop for a $400 CPU or not. But there you go, guys. That is how it is done. That's how you do it. This is a kind of a weird segment. It's a strange segment. I didn't feel that comfortable doing it, but I wanted to do it. I've just recently had so many people asking me. I think it's because console gaming is getting so much more expensive. I think just more people, especially as my friends are getting a little older, their kids are starting to like hang out at their friends' houses, which is really weird to think about. But I think because of that, they're like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to get into it, or I used to, and I'm ready to get back into it. So I was like, we'll just make a segment about it. I'll clip it into a video later, and it'll be up forever. Hopefully this did not come across condescending. I was trying very, very hard for it not to be.
It's a lot of fun, especially if you have a friend who can help you out with it. It can be a very rewarding experience. Not just the saving money part of it, but just kind of getting into the details of it, getting a better kind of understanding of what your computer actually is,
Oh, and I see this in the comments, you guys chatting. Thank you guys for chatting back and forth on some of those things I missed. You too, Sage. Thank you. I can only have so many windows up at once. So, wow, we did make it to nearly 3 hours.
Yeah, we did pretty good.
I got my mystery segment though. But I don't know. Maybe I should just leave well enough alone, maybe.
Don't do anything too spicy. You can always save it in your back pocket for when
it's
when
relevant.
It becomes...
It's relevant news right now, though. It's relevant right now. So okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it quick. I'll be very quick about it. Okay. Or I'll leave it alone. I don't know. Do it. All right. So there's this guy named Ninja. If any of you have ever heard of him, the world's most famous streamer, because he's the one that everyone knows about. He was on a stream. What was this? Yesterday night. And
what platform?
He was on Twitch.
Still on Twitch, okay.
But he himself is not on Twitch.
Oh.
And he is with Tim the Tech Man, I think that's how his name is pronounced. He was on his stream, and this is the video. And basically they're all hanging out together, they're playing games together, and this over here in the corner on the right hand side, this white shoulder is man, I need something that's not quite this small but not quite that big. I'm gonna play it. Just listen to the shit that comes out of Ninja's mouth. World's most revered Twitch streamer.
Also, Ronaldo is like literally like 1/20th of our following and is complete.
Ronaldo is a smaller streamer who's been growing a lot over the last few years. This is him down here. So who they're referring to is just a smaller streamer who's kind of like on his up and coming right now, for context.
Also, Ronaldo is like literally like 1/20th of our following and is completely irrelevant. So we should probably just keep opening cases.
I love Ronaldo. Ronaldo.
Why are you hating on him?
He tried to be an IRL streamer and failed miserably. So he's
That's not Ronaldo.
It can't be.
Oh shit! Hi Ronaldo. Sorry.
I don't know why Ty cooked. I don't know why Ty was cooking like that, bro.
I thought you were a fake. Sorry.
Hey Ronaldo, man, keep uploading those, IRL videos, bro. You're killing it.
Anyone's name.
Hey, Ronaldo peaked when he was fucking playing Fortnite. I'll say it.
You can kind of like, you can kind of see these guys in the background getting a little, I don't know if you guys can see, that's fucking tiny on stream. Let's see if, and you guys can't really see it up there because I can't make this any bigger. They're like visually uncomfortable.
Sit here and say
Dude, I mean
and now he's trying to get.
There's highs and lows.
And he's trying to get into drama.
Highs and lows.
Hey, Ronaldo, you're better than drama, dude. All right? Get back into the fucking competitive scene. You're washed.
What?
I said it, dude.
How does that make sense?
I said what I said, bro.
I think Ronaldo is
No,
a
I'm
good
saying
gamer.
you told him to
You
get back in the competitive scene, and then you also said you're washed
up,
It
bro.
makes no
I think
sense.
Ronaldo, you're like a,
Oh, it boils me.
combination of fucking
He's a great gamer.
of clicks. Like, oh my god, I might be good at the game, and like myth, like you went to YouTube and what happened? You know what I mean? Like that's you right now.
All right.
What? I said what I.
So like even the guys he's, I don't know, did that come across Sage? Did you pick up what he was throwing down at all? If you're there still. So Ninja, the guy who, okay, so this is the guy they're talking about. This is the guy he's talking about. Ronaldo, where my head is this guy. He's an up and coming streamer and he's playing, he used to play Fortnite and he doesn't anymore. But what bugs the ever living shit out of me is like, there's like this weird thing that these guys have been doing, which is, or that Ninja's doing, is just pissing all over this smaller streamer. This guy who's like just coming out, he's just building up. And if you think about it, Ninja, he came up when it was fucking easy to come up. Like if you were streaming anything in 2015, you were going to grow. And if you happen to pick up Fortnite and you happen to play that game before it was big and you happen to be really good at it, your road to success was basically guaranteed, right? And then Ninja sells out his fucking community for $50 million to go over to a dead on arrival platform. And he's calling this guy, this newer up and coming streamer, calling him washed up. And I swear, if you were looking at like the streamer dictionary of sold out and washed out, Ninja's face would be the fucking avatar of that description. Like the reason people talk about streamers being washed out. Oh, I'm sorry. It bugs me. It bugs me on a level it probably shouldn't. It upsets me on a level that it probably shouldn't. But this dude would be at more. He turned down as like a 1,000 concurrent viewer streamer. He turned down an exclusive, like a huge fucking deal with Facebook. So he turns down like 15 grand a month as a 15, 16-year-old because he didn't want anyone having control over his content, over where he could do his content, over what he's going to play, why he's going to play it. And he straight up said on stream, he's just not going to leave his community because his community is on Twitch. And some will come with him, but not all of them, not even close. Ninja, on the other hand, biggest streamer ever at the time, just bailed on his community and just has the audacity to just shit on this smaller streamer. And it sucks because this guy, Ronald, or however you say his name, he talked about how when he was like 14, 15 years old, Ninja was his favorite streamer. And to just hear this person that like gave you all this inspiration to do this, and you're climbing the hill, which when Ninja climbed it, it was a fucking molehill. When this kid's climbing it, it's a mountain. It bugs me so much.
Oh, that's rough.
It bothers me so much. And he issued an apology and shit. We'll get into that here. So this is a clip from Ronaldo's stream yesterday. Because he's obviously addressing the shit. He's not really my cup of tea, and he yells a lot, which is definitely not my cup of tea. But this is what he had to say about the apology that was issued to him.
I was completely gone and just feeling some type of way. No reason to randomly and unnecessarily throw shade at you, brother. I don't expect you to forgive me either. I just wanted to reach out and say I'm sorry. You're a great streamer and content creator. If I'm a great streamer and content creator, why are you saying 1,000 viewers is bad, that my YouTube isn't good, and that my community basically sucks? That's my question. I feel like what this was is your attempt at fucking PR training, because that's what you do. You know that too. You know you PR train. You're PR trained. You know how it is. And then how do you counter it by saying this on stream?
It wasn't. It didn't happen, for me at least. Mo with an I-99 says, good morning, Nina. Not to be disrespectful or anything. Dude, I already reached out to him and apologized for the, Ronaldo wasn't ready for the level of banter that me and the boys dish at each other.
I'm not your fucking boy. I've never been your boy. You just came at... Bro, I'm gonna use the same analogy like I use. It's like you go to someone's concert and they fucking put the spotlight on you and they call you... I was completely...
So he freaked out for quite a while on his stream. He freaked out. There's quite a few clips of him freaking out on his stream, but I think it's totally founded. And obviously, if you guys aren't in the streaming community and stuff, and you don't really know what's going on, this might not really matter to you. It might not be a big deal, but to have, you're basically looking at this guy's inspiration for what he's doing and his favorite streamer, and as he's kind of on his way up the mountain, just getting shit on by someone he looked up to. It sucks. That really sucks. I can't imagine, because when I was on my Twitch journey and all that stuff, why is he shirtless though? He streams shirtless constantly. That's he just usually at some point in the night he gets really sweaty gaming and the shirt comes off. It's it just sucks. It sucks. I was trying to imagine, like, if I had been on my Twitch journey and someone like, I don't know, Asmongold was like, this Glarp guy's a fucking loser. He's washed out. He ain't gonna make it. He sucks. I don't know, like someone that I aspire to be in their position to do that to me live in my own community, knowing I would see it, knowing damn well that I would see it. I don't know. I just don't know what that would do to me. I think that would fuck me up. It's just so not cool. And anyway, I just hate Ninja with a seething passion. So I wanted to that segment was for me more than it was for you guys. That was for me. Because fuck, did that piss me off. Pissed me off so bad. And I was like, I don't even know how to make a segment about this. I don't even know how to talk about it. I want the universe to hear, and I want it permanently on the internet forever, that I think that is totally fucked to do to somebody. And he's a worthless piece of shit for doing it. What do you think, Sage?
I agree 100%.
Do you? Okay. I feel like I'm going way over the top about something that no one gives a shit about but me. But fuck. Don't like it. Don't like it. Don't want it. I think if you're part of a community and if you want to see that community thrive, like Twitch is a community, YouTube's a community, we're a community. If you want to see it, you got to build people up. You know? If you know you're above people in what you're doing and you're further along than them, you grab them and you pull them up. And you should be excited and you should be celebrating their rise and you should be ecstatic for them. And if their content's not your kind of content, if they're not your kind of guy, then whatever. It costs you nothing to not say shit. It costs you fucking nothing to not be an asshole. Oh, gosh. Rudeness is such an epidemic. Rudeness is an absolute epidemic and it blows. The gaming community already gets spit on enough from the outside. True. Yeah. Yeah, it's like fucking we don't need any more enemies. Right? You don't need to make the climb harder, especially when, you know, you basically didn't have to work to get where you're at. Don't make it extra work for other people. All right, that's it. That's all I'm going to say on it. That's it. I'm going to leave it alone. So I said my piece. I washed my hands of this. Well, that's it, guys. We made it to 3 hours, and I can tell by how little Sage is saying he's ready to be done.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you so much, Sage, for everything, man. Thanks for hanging out and adding all of your commentary in. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
And I wanted to say it where the community could hear it because it makes me look good. You got anything for the people, Sage?
Oh, just hey, thank you for showing up, interacting with chat. I'm keeping an eye on it on my third mini screen here. And yeah, we'll see you all next time.
You heard
Friday.
it, guys. You will see us next time. Today's the 13th. It's about, or yeah, I guess it's the 13th now. Yeah, so tomorrow, Friday, we'll have our Freaky Friday segment, and we'll see you guys then, and we'll see